intro. The Lucha masks coming together.
They come together as one.
Yeah.
It's like Power Rangers meets World Class Championship Wrestling.
Oh, yeah, there you go. I like that.
I wanted to edit that the other day and I realized I don't have the file anymore.
Oh, no.
Sound check is good. Oops. Double sound check is also good.
Oh, there you go.
So what's up? We're happy Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon's birthday day. What's up, Mike? Museum of Now. You gotta go check out. He's got some good tunes in there. But yeah, today is Barry Gordy's The Last Dragon's birthday, March 22nd, 1985.
Such a good movie.
Show enough.
Show
enough. It's a good movie. You know, it only came out a year after The Karate Kid.
Wow.
That's unreal.
That is unreal.
I think we could totally get away with having the Last Dragon universe like we have the Cobra Kai universe on Netflix now that we're winding down to our final season of Cobra Kai. Yeah. I think a younger cast, but for the Last Dragon, I think that would do bonkers business.
We need Bruce Leroy back.
Bruce Leroy, that's who. Oh, that was so good. Yeah. And you had a fun fact that we did not know about that. Julius Carey, who played Show Nuff, was basically doing his Rick James was.
Yeah, most definitely. That he's Rick Jameson out there. And then what's the rapper Busta Rhymes out there? I always thought
Rhymes. That was
I always thought like, man, Busta Rhymes like looks a little like Show Nuff. And then Busta Rhymes, I think he understood. He knew where he was from, and he does like a little Show Nuff gimmick in one of his videos. It was great. I was like, yes, thank you for reading my mind and delivering my Show Nuff.
That it wasn't in your head.
Right.
I feel like it was a Tiamak that played Leroy Green, Bruce Leroy Green. Mm-hmm. That he was actually an actor and a stuntman, but I thought he was going to be like big business after that. But I feel like that was all he had. Yeah,
that's really weird that he wasn't just this big name after that. You know, that he didn't kind of blow up.
Tiamak, yeah.
He was on that dating show with Jenny McCarthy.
Yes, right.
He was on an episode of that.
He was also a bartender in Beverly Hills 90210. I had to jump to his IMDb. He is still doing some cable work. He's doing some stuntman work. He's in a show called Double Cross right now that's in 2 episodes. And then in 2018, he was Fury of the Fist and the Golden Fleece.
Oh.
But I think we need to start a signing campaign that just hit me. Barry Gordy's The Next Last Dragon on Netflix, and we get
Lastest Dragon.
The Lastest Dragon.
Or is it the final dragon?
The final.
Is it to be the final?
No,
dragon?
You can't have it be the final dragon yet. It's the lastest, the laster. This time for real. Last.
I don't know. I think that would do really well. I think it wasn't in like the mainstream zeitgeist as much as the Karate Kid universe was.
Sure, yeah.
But if if it's in that sweet spot, and Mario, we talked about this a lot. That 1985, it was like through 83 through 88. Man, it was just firing on all cylinders. There wasn't Twitter like yelling at people for making bad movies. Right. Like, why are you doing it this way? Or what did you guys...
If a movie was really bad, that just means you watched it 100 times on cable instead of at the theater.
I've watched so many, quote unquote, bad movies on HBO. What's one of my favorite, bad movies has a young Seth Green and a young Jack Black is Airborne.
Oh,
I've seen Airborne with the.
What's Airborne?
So it's this guy from this teenager from California, and he goes to live with his aunt and uncle and his cousin, like in Indiana or something like that, somewhere that's away from the ocean. He's this surfer kid, and then all of a sudden, hijinks ensue as they do with high school kid. He falls in love with local pretty girl at high school who has a boyfriend. And all of a sudden, everybody's rollerblading down the devil's backbone. And but you get to see a young Seth Green and a young Jack Black, and it's hilarious. It's a great movie. You really just take it for what it is, and it's a great movie.
Yes,
I've watched that movie 10 or more times.
People are not as forgiving as movies as they used to be.
This is true.
But is it possible that our bad movies worse now than bad movies than they were before?
Well, I think there's more of them now.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? It's just we flooded the market so even the bad movies can't be enjoyed.
Yeah.
I mean, there used to be only a finite amount of movies you could watch on a weekend, and you'd run out of stuff to watch.
Yeah,
You know, if you were renting stuff every weekend.
that's true.
Or like, what was it? Y'all ever see Only the Strong? It's a movie with that
that's a
that
capoeira
introduces capoeira, Brazilian capoeira, to the American masses, and introduces the Bananawe, Bananawe. Everybody, and you sing that song forever. And that's another one of those movies I saw on HBO 1,000 times. I introduced it to my wife, and she's like, "What are you making me watch right now?"
It's called Culture.
I do remember the Banana Way song. There was even an Only the Strong too. I'm pretty sure.
Was there?
Yeah, I
Oh
don't think
man,
it's the same guy, but
Oh, see, no, it needs
a-
the same guy. Yeah, we need the same guy. Otherwise, it's just not going to work.
I think Mike pretty much nailed it, and we've talked about this. Bad movies with no effort these days. You had to work harder to make a movie back then. Like you couldn't
Probably.
just throw it. You really had to put a lot of thought into your bad movie. Where now
yeah.
you
Well,
can just like
no
whatever.
one back then was saying, "Ha, our movie's so bad, isn't it hilarious?" It
No.
was just like accidentally bad, but they really tried.
Everybody's putting the effort in, and it just turns out to be a bad movie.
Jeff, can we address the fact that your hat says "loaded diaper"? I'm just realizing this.
Yes. Shout out to A Diary of the Wimpy Kid. That is the name of his older brother's band.
Loaded diaper. That's awesome.
So yeah, that was in honor of Jesse. We were talking about beanies in the Dosing Credit. I was like, I think I have a band beanie somewhere. Then I realized it was Diary of the Wimpy Kids band beanie. It's like, it's not a real band.
I love that kind of thing where there's merch for things that don't exist, like bands, or I have a T-shirt of, it's like the Twin Brothers movie rental, place. I love merch like that. It's just like, oh, what is that place? Oh man, they went out of business a few years ago, but they were you just make up some story for this random this
Right.
thing. I love fake merch like that.
Oh, fake merch is the best. Yeah. There's a shout out to a store that's not a sponsor, but I'll still give it to him. It's called the Box Lunch. Just opened up in the outlets here, and they have a lot of anime stuff, but they had Surfer Boy Pizza, a nice tumbler, and I'm like, oh, that. Oh, no,
What
it's
is
like,
Surfer Boy Pizza?
Surfer Boy Pizza is the pizza joint from Stranger Things.
Oh,
But it looks like a legit,
Yeah.
oh, it's like if this was a pizzeria, I would have stole this glass.
Yeah.
I would have just like, hey, stick this in your bag when we leave. It's like, you can, I did that to the Cheers bar in Boston, and like, you can buy those too, right? I was like,
but it's free this way.
Right.
What's up, Jason?
Jace, what's up? So, and you're speaking of HBO, RIP HBO.
What is that, man?
I don't know if I like.
Wait, RIP HBO. What happened?
They're thinking of, so it's Discovery Plus and HBO Max are going to be sunsetted and merged into one app, but they're going with the name Max is the rumor right now. Just Max.
You gotta be kidding me with that. Like HBO for
Legacy,
I mean, maybe
man.
it's because it's a legacy
Why
name.
Max?
Yeah.
That's a terrible
That's
idea.
even worse. Like, just that's so awful. Like,
Yeah, it's bad.
I understand that maybe because it's a legacy name that their marketing research was like, well, people are driven away from it. Like, well, were they driven away from it when Game of Thrones was still
Yeah.
there, or maybe you don't have your next Game of Thrones just lined up,
Right.
and so
Max is the confusing part. When you tell somebody
Yeah.
something's on HBO, they go Max. Yeah, it's
Right.
always a question.
So now where do I find that? Max?
Right.
Max what? Max Head? Like what?
Yeah, who's Max?
Head? Yeah.
It's on
Who's
Max.
Max.
It's not going to work. Yeah, I think it's a terrible idea. Somebody got
Stop
put
trying
through
to make
school.
Max happen. It's like a mean girl thing.
Somebody got paid a lot of money
To be wrong.
to be incredibly
It
wrong.
was 50-50, HBO or Max, and did they coin flip it? Because it just doesn't
and
make
you
any
picked
sense.
wrong. Is HBO the first ever cable channel? I know it's the first premium movie channel, but I mean it goes way back to 80s. It has legacy, and it's not TV; it's HBO. They were also known for award-winning television. Do you lose all that history when, like, 20 years from now, like, what was The Sopranos on? Max? What the hell? Yeah,
What's a
that's
Max?
that's not going to work.
Well, and see, so what's going to happen is they're going to go with Max, and then a few years down the line, they're going to rebrand it as HBO Plus. And then I thought you were telling us that HBO was the problem. No, we're just stupid.
Yeah, we're just
HBO Classic they'll come out with after that.
So who came up with the worst? Let's take a vote. And Mike said Max is a human name that can't be searched. What a terrible idea. But all right, let's do
And Brett, they're gonna spell it weird with like 3 X's or something.
let's do a poll here because the two premium movie channels have always been HBO and Showtime, and then the rest came later. You can argue which one was better or worse. So now who has the worst name? HBO turning to Max, or Showtime being merged and called now Paramount Plus with Showtime?
It's like
that's a sentence. That's not a name.
I feel like there's another brand out there that has this weird, like, worded name that's just like, why confuse your audience? Why, like, where did you watch that? Oh, I watched it on Paramount Plus
With Showtime. Oh, that with Showtime?
Well, see, and that's the thing, though, is I don't want to say with Showtime. I'm going to tell you it's Paramount Plus, and then you're going to get mad at me.
Can you get Paramount Plus without Showtime?
Yeah.
Well,
I have that for like all the Star Trek stuff and all that. So, but yeah, so you can get it without Showtime because it's Paramount Plus with Showtime. And I'm going to tell you Paramount Plus, and then you're going to get mad at me because you can't find it.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And so all of a sudden, I'm in trouble. Somebody's coming for me.
You're right. That's my ass on the line.
That's my ass on the line.
It's the weird aftermath of the streaming wars, like I was telling you, Jeff. It's just like
it is weird.
They nuked the environment, and they're trying to pick up the pieces and figure out what's going on. They're going to have to, unify. Because don't you get? I think if you get, what is it? Walmart has a Prime thing.
Yeah, it's like Walmart Plus or something.
Walmart Plus. I think you get
everything's Plus.
Paramount Plus with that too.
Yeah, you do.
I don't know if you get I guess you get Showtime now as well.
Yeah, you'll get Showtime with it.
Oh, see, check the chat there. Cinemax. We already have Cinemax. You can't turn it to Max.
Oh, that's right.
You can't turn
because HBO owns Cinemax, right? That's where you
do they?
Yeah, that's their like secondary channel, right?
That's where they can show the softcore.
Yeah, the softcore, and then the B action that turns into A action these days.
I
but
didn't know
it's
that.
gone now. I think, or at least as far as I know, it's gone, and now it's just like a sub-subject under the title. Like, I don't even know if you have like a Cinemax section like you had like DC when you go into HBO Max.
I didn't know that.
No, the streaming wars, man, war is hell. It's changed a lot of people because it was glorious there for a while. Like, we were getting everything, and everything was being served to us and bringing it right to our homes. Everything was snappy. All the apps had cool colors, and now they're like sentences for names or human people, and now
you can't even navigate Hulu for the life of you.
Oh yeah, and Hulu? What is theirs? Is Hulu Plus with live TV? It's just like that's the best you can do.
Hulu and like Hulu Plus, and then now it's a Hulu Plus with live TV. I mean, guys.
And now it's so like they don't even like Disney doesn't even want Hulu anymore. It's like we can trade it to some. Let's give it to Universal and have them give Hulk back.
They're going to trade Hulu for the Incredible Hulk.
Hulu for Hulk.
Is the deal?
Yeah, the Hulu.
Now, that's when you know streaming channels are losing their value, right?
And I think they said, well, we're not doing anything unless you throw Namor in the deal. So it's got to be Hulk and Namor. For Hulu. Wait, okay, we'll give you Hulu, but if you want the Plus with live TV, it's going to be something different. And then
we need all of Atlantis.
Yeah.
If we're getting a Plus live TV.
They just it's just a hot swap. They just get Hulu, but what about the content that's on it?
That's true too, because like there's a lot of stuff that it's on there because it's related to Disney. It's
right,
because it's
ABC.
Related, because everybody has their hand in it. And so, I mean, but at the end of the day, is the Hulk a draw, like a real draw?
A movie draw. That's a good question. Like, well, his 2 solo movies, the answer would be no. I mean, I loved them.
I thought they were great, but no, obviously
they were the lower tier ones. Eric Bana one and
wait, was there 2 or 3?
There's two. There's three Hulks, but there's two standalone movies.
Oh, right. There's two standalones.
Yeah.
That's right.
Got my boy
But
Edward Norton.
Yeah, Edward Norton, which it worked well, but I thought it worked well, but there was no way. Can you see him now being in the Mark Ruffalo position?
No, definitely not.
No.
Unfortunately. Though I think I feel like he's very much, like Mark Ruffalo plays it well, but I feel like Edward Norton has the look of Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
He does have a look.
Yeah.
Bill Bixby. I mean, that was a high bar. And like you said, they were, how hard were they really trying back then?
That's true too.
There's a great video that you guys should look up on YouTube if you want to talk about the original Avengers Assemble idea that goes all the way back to the 70s with the Incredible Hulk on TV. And they had a crossover event where they brought Thor on there, and then they actually had the trial of the Incredible Hulk.
Wait, I remember this one. They had Thor and Daredevil.
Yeah, the trial of the Incredible Hulk had Daredevil, and then there was another one, I believe, it didn't make it. I think it was going to be Doctor Strange, maybe. I don't know who remember the third one was, but Bill Bixby kept that thing alive so long, and he was trying to bring them together with like television movies. So that's worth. We'll put it in the link of this description because this is worth watching. It's a cool documentary for sure. But I mean, that's Friday. Incredible Hulk that was up there with Dukes of Hazzard. Really good memories, and now neither could exist.
No, most definitely not.
Yeah, what would happen with the General Lee? Like, what do they do with that? They would just have to paint it.
Yeah, you have to do
just
something
have to paint
else.
It, right?
Like
if they did Dukes of Hazzard again.
Yeah, like you can get like real Southern with it, but
that was just like a thing in the 70s where it was like they would just make movies and shows about bootleggers.
Yeah,
it's a genre,
right?
So what would they be now? Computer hackers? Like they wouldn't be
just get away from the law.
Nerds.
They're gonna be selling like the synthetic weed or something.
How do you get away from the law?
Yeah,
you still have to add the element of driving in it. I guess you could
smart cars.
Oh God! Here we are in our Tesla.
Yeah, I don't know.
You could really you could do something like that, but it'd have to be like futuristic.
It'd be like it'd say Mega on top or something.
Yeah. But yeah, it'd have to be like futuristic. That way, you could still do, you could go back to bootlegging and you can bootleg something futuristic, and you can just kind of make up your own thing. But like nowadays, like you couldn't do that, and because like you said, got to be like computer hackers.
Or you know what? Let's do this. Let's set the Dukes of Hazzard remake in the 90s. And they're selling bootleg videotapes. And they drive them around in that super fast car to deliver. Who owns Dukes of Hazzard?
I remember it was a CBS show, right? So does that fall under
CBS?
Paramount?
Man, can you imagine like a bootleg delivery system?
Oh, man. That's actually a really good
idea.
That's actually a really good
Somebody
idea.
tag Bo and Luke or Jesse in that one.
Yeah, don't tag Vance and Coey, please. Tag Bo and Luke. I don't remember seeing the Johnny Knoxville, Shawn Michael Scott version of Dukes of Hazzard.
I don't think I watched
with
that.
Jessica Simpson as Daisy Duke. Mm-hmm. Right? I don't remember.
You don't remember seeing that one?
Mm-mm. Oh, well, I remember. I know I saw it. I just don't remember it making anything happen for me one way or another.
Yeah.
Was it good?
Johnny Knoxville wasn't Johnny or Sean William Scott were not draws for me.
I don't remember anything about it either.
Yeah.
Did it happen? Did we just get Mandela effect? It did happen, right?
Did it even happen?
Yeah, it had Jessica Simpson.
It did, right?
Yeah. I mean, she was a draw for me, but not
she was a draw.
Yeah.
She was really big at the time. That was a good. That was some good casting. Let's stick on our. This turned into a little bit of a Hollywood Heat segment, so let's stick with that segment. And what do you guys want to go with, Mario? You have a theory with why The Mandalorian is struggling. We don't have to talk about the show because I don't think. Well, you just watched it. JJ, did you watch?
I haven't watched today's episode.
You
no,
haven't? Okay.
I meant to, and I happened to sleep.
Before we move on to this, I was looking up. Is this the Dukes of Hazzard movie?
No. God, no. What the hell is that?
What is that? Is that like Dukes of Hazzard,
that
American
might be on
Pie?
Max.
Is this Sean William Scott over here in the back?
That doesn't.
That's the Max version.
Yeah, that is not the HBO Max. That's just Max.
Oh no! So yeah, you were asking about. I was thinking last night because I was watching. I told you I watched that Bill Maher podcast, his new podcast, and he had Quentin Tarantino on.
Have you seen that yet, JJ? Club Random? It's pretty...
I'm not a Bill Maher fan, though.
You would be a Bill Maher fan of this. This
Okay.
is... If he had, like, an 80s movies where there was twins, and you have the uptight guy who cares about... And then you just have the stoner who's just sitting there in a Hawaiian
He just gets
shirt.
super stoned.
He just gets
okay.
stoned.
Yeah.
He gets good guests. Is the thing.
Oh, okay.
And he gets so stoned. Like... he's like so stoned. Like you always know he was like a big, he'd do the wink, I'm smoking pot. Now he's just like, wait, what was I talking about? That's so good, just for that.
Anyway, it was a Quentin Tarantino one, and it was really good. And I like watching him on any podcast. It took me into other Quentin Tarantino videos. They're talking about his filmography, and I got this thought in my head, and I think it needs to be finally stated out loud. I think we've let it go silent long enough. I think that it was a mistake to split Kill Bill into 2 movies.
Wasn't his original idea 3 movies, like a trilogy?
Well, the original was one super long movie.
One long movie,
okay.
yeah.
And when the script leaked, it's out there somewhere. Well, I don't know. It's hard to find now. I think he got them all taken down. You could probably find it on a torrent.
Sure.
It's like a super, 300-page script or something like that.
Damn.
But it's like the best. It's so awesome. It works so well, And honestly, when it got to the point and they split it, I just thought, well, I think we all kind of went with it. It was fine, But as I watch it now, I just think of like, this would be so much better if it was one super long movie. Like think of like RRR, right?
Right. Yeah.
3.5 hours. Kill Bill could have been that, but earlier.
Yeah.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
You're 100% right. I never really understood that. Why? Well, we won't say his name. I don't know if that would get us flagged, but that Miramax, one of the brothers who founded Miramax, that the one that's in jail, is the one that convinced him, double your pleasure, double your fun, cut this movie in half, make more money.
Could we as an audience have handled that the time?
At the time,
I don't know. I don't know if we could have, but we were not given the chance.
This is true.
we definitely could now.
Especially because we got Grindhouse not very long after. And I think...
That broke people's brains.
Yeah, I think so, unfortunately.
That was another Harvey Weinstein thing that... sorry, said his name, damn it! Oh!
We'll cut it out in post.
Sorry, no, the algorithm just completely shut us down by now. No, but I'm saying, I think that was I think that should have just remained 2 1-hour movies.
Yeah.
Which was the initial idea.
Okay.
A double feature was, I think, people didn't understand it.
No. A lot of people didn't know it was a double feature, and they were confused that it's like the movie changed into a different movie halfway through.
Right.
Yeah.
And it really threw people off.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool idea, and I love it. I love it as it is. I love Grindhouse as a single feature and as separates. I think that totally worked.
Yeah.
But Kill Bill was supposed to just be Kill Bill, and I think it just would have been epic had we. It's like like something like The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. That's super long. Once Upon a Time in the West, that's super long.
Yeah,
we
there was a lot
don't
of
fret about it,
movies.
right? I think it was supposed to be that, and I don't know. I've never been able to see the whole bloody affair. I don't even know where it exists. I think Quentin Tarantino has one print.
There was promises that it was going to come out.
I know he has a print and plays it at the New Beverly from time to time.
The whole bloody affair.
Yeah.
Right now he could put that out. He could put that out
now.
and make a ton of money.
That's probably tied up with...
oh, that's true,
Satan.
yeah. The same with Kevin Smith. A lot of his stuff
Yeah,
is
all
tied
his
up.
movies are tied up on there.
Yep.
But now you're right, because then it opened up this Pandora's box a little bit, where people like, did you like the first one better than the second one? And it was like that Office meme. It's just like, it's the same thing.
Right.
It's the same. Right. It's like, did you like the beginning or the end? But what it did open up that nobody expected was the Kill Bill Volume 3 option. And that was always kind of lingering. And we had a video drop yesterday talking about the movie critic being his 10th film. So we're never going to get that Kill Bill Volume 3 unless he makes Volume 3 a Netflix or streaming special. We'll never get that 3. But We would have never expected to have a 3 unless they just had it as one big whole bloody affair. Or would we have? Since the whole thing was based on revenge, and then you take out the mom in front of the daughter, that's basically who created this revenge effect. He had to have known that was going to happen, right?
Right.
He's too smart of a filmmaker.
I would like to think that Quentin Tarantino has somebody in mind to maybe carry that on. So there's a video game franchise called Mother, and there's 3 Mother games. And when they asked the creator, would you make a 4th? Would you keep the franchise going? He's like I've told the stories I want to tell, but I would love to see somebody else take up the reins. And so you have a lot of fan projects trying to take up the reins and that kind of thing. And so, I think it'd be great if Quentin Tarantino was like, you know what, if you want it, you can have it, and you can take the reins on Kill Bill and tell the 3rd story.
Yeah. Fine, I'll do it.
Well, that was always the whole idea.
Real quick, I have to hijack the podcast for 1 second. I don't want to continue on Quentin Tarantino because I'm talking about this. Is this the Dukes of Hazzard movie?
No, that looks like a TV movie.
No, that's Bill Engvall right there. Isn't that Bill Engvall?
This is not the show.
That's the show.
No, it's not. He didn't have a goatee in the show.
No, but it's John Schneider and Tom Wopat from the show, but it looks like they're older. Did they do a movie event after?
Yeah, it's the Dukes of Hazzard reunion movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I was going to say those are definitely the OGs. Catherine Bach.
Anyway, I think we need to do a video about Mandela effect about Dukes of Hazzard. Anyway, sorry.
There was another franchise that was Dukes of Hazzard-y. Oh man, that's gonna kill me.
Not the one with the cousins. So it wasn't the Vance and Coey.
No, it was. I forget what it is. That's gonna kill me for the rest. And for even just mentioning it now,
it'll pop in your head when you least
was it Miami Vice? Were they cousins? Okay, but now that I sidetracked everything, I'll bring it back around. Speaking Tarantino, one of his buddies, right? Eli Roth. That's one of his proteges, isn't it? Right? Like you were saying, somebody's gonna pass
I believe so. Yeah.
Thanksgiving is in production.
It is finally. I'm excited about that. That should be really good.
Grindhouse has spawned several spin-offs, is that the 3rd or 4th one?
Yeah, because there's 2 Machetes with the promise of 3 were coming, right? Then we have, now we'll have Thanksgiving.
Mm-hmm. And Hobo with a Shotgun, technically.
Technically Hobo with a Shotgun was part of that universe. What about Don't? That was Edgar Wright. Yeah. We never got a Don't. Mm-hmm. A Don't would have been good. But I think we've said this on here before, but I'm going to reiterate it if we didn't. We already have who the daughter is going to be played by. It's going to be played by Nico Parker from The Last of Us, who played Sarah, who is the daughter of the girl from Westworld. Right?
Oh, yeah.
She's going to be in what now?
Thandie Newton. Is that hers? She should be who should play in Kill Bill Volume 3. She should be the one, the teenager going after Uma, after going after what did it end up being her name? The bride's name? They said it.
Beatrix Kiddo.
Beatrix Kiddo. Yeah. Beatrix Kiddo. I think Nico Parker would be the person to play that.
She seems a bit young, I think.
Well, I think by the time this actually got done, it'd be a couple of years, so she'd be around 18, 19. They'd be able to pull it off, right?
Maybe. But
just depends on what type of milk she's drinking.
I mean, Zendaya is right there. Right?
That's true,
Oh,
that's true. It's the star power, but
she's got the stature to go against Uma Thurman.
Yeah, you're right, and she could carry a film by herself too.
But are we trying to Jenna Ortega Zendaya into a movie? Because Jenna Ortega is going to be in everything now.
Yeah,
and so are we trying to put her into places where I wouldn't mind seeing it. I think it'd be great, but I just fear that we're trying to put people into things because they're the name.
It does happen, but I think for Jenna Ortega to be in Beetlejuice 2, that felt like a slam dunk. That's perfect. I was gonna say
Tim Burton's found his new muse.
Yeah,
he's gonna.
That actually worked.
Yeah.
Yeah, I may retract and put Nico's number 2. Then you're right. I think Zendaya, because
then
I can see Zendaya.
She would be a fantastic.
You see her on the main poster, and like she would be able to carry the poster.
She's
even with
got
Uma.
the face to, she's all the, all her emotions are
Yeah.
there, and
Yeah.
Yeah, and she's a phenomenal actor.
I don't think Tarantino would do a sequel because I think
No.
he is he's just that guy.
Sure.
But I could see him maybe signing off on the sequel and getting a director, somebody to do.
All
it.
right, I'm going to throw this out to him then. He's an author. Just write us a book.
Write a book.
Write a book.
Hey,
We
that's
love
not-
like
could-
his books.
But I mean, if he
have been
writes
great.
a book, they're going to turn it into. There's no way.
They're not going to turn.
They're just gonna pull a dump
Mark,
truck.
don't say it. We're trying to trick him into writing it.
Well, hold on. So, and I'm sure this has been brought up before. Like, could he cheat it and say, "Oh no, Kill Bill 1 and 2 was one movie.
That's what I
It was
thought.
just released.
That's what I
separate."
thought.
That
would
brings
be
us
the
back-
He still has
asterisk.
two
That brings us
movies.
back around to the point.
He still
Is
has
it?
two
Could
movies.
it be? Could we do that? Could he swerve us after 10?
I wouldn't mind us work.
I would be
it'd be
okay
great.
with it.
Yeah.
And again, JD, that's what he was talking with on Club Random with Bill. Bill Maher is basically trying to trick him into continuing his career.
Which? Okay, real quick, round poll. What is your top Tarantino movie? Number 1. You can only pick one. Just pick one.
That is really
Pulp Fiction. I'll take Pulp Fiction.
All right, I'll give you 2. Pick 2. Your top 2. Your top 2. You can't do like a top 3. He doesn't have a movie. Top 2.
no, because he doesn't make bad movies. He hasn't made a bad one yet.
But if you had 2, they're all lined up.
So the way to book this is not saying that this is going to be his best movie. You got to do the island cut. If you were stranded on an island where you're only going to have one of his movies for the rest of time, which one would you pick? So now you're not saying a favorite because obviously they're all great.
yeah, so I'm saying I think 1 is tough. 2 is fair.
Yeah, which one you want to watch?
We got 2
over
pick
and
2.
over again.
So if you don't have Pulp Fiction, JJ, which one?
Come on. Kill Bill 1 and 2.
All right. Well, I mean,
I'm calling it now. Kill Bills 1 and 2.
The whole bloody affair.
I think
yeah.
that's legit.
I'll
I think
take-
that's
yeah.
legit. I think that's right.
I can't believe that I'm going to say that if I had to be on a remote island and I only get 2 of his films the rest of the time, that one of them would be the latest one that he had. Because you said this before, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood just keeps getting better and better and better.
It does.
Every time you watch it.
It does.
It never is not watchable. It's one of those things that as soon as it's on, you cannot change. You physically cannot change off the app, change the channel, whatever you call it. You can't do
And
that.
it's like it's funny because I thought I was watching a thing about Tarantino and he was talking about how Jackie Brown was his hangout movie, and I was like, well, I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood is really the hangout movie, and when it's on, you kind of hang out with the movie,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
you know?
Fair.
Yeah.
So you said it's 2,
2.
but it can't be Pulp Fiction?
No, it can be whatever.
Oh, it can be Pulp Fiction.
It can even be something he wrote and didn't direct.
Oh. No, but I'd still go with what he directed.
Yeah.
It would be tough, but I want to say Death Proof, but I'm going to say Pulp Fiction because that's another one that, like, you just watch it over and over and over again. Death Proof was a time period and you feel like you're back in that time, where Pulp Fiction, you know when it came out, but it feels timeless. So I'd have to go with those 2.
It came out in the 90s, but it feels like the 70s.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pulp Fiction is like so disciplined, you know? It's like not all over the place. It's just very much focused on one singular kind of idea, just the way the movie feels, you know?
Yeah. And Mario, and what is, and JJ answer too, what does this affect? And I can say this as someone who did not see Pulp Fiction in the theater. When the first time I saw it, I had no idea what to make of it. And it's not like I saw it and instantly fell in love with it. The first time I saw that, and the same thing with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I liked it, but I was just like, okay. It required again and again and again. What is that effect? Like, you see a movie and you instantly love it. None of his movies have done that where you instantly love it. It's just like over time, they just keep getting better. What is that?
I don't know, but I think it has something to do with when a movie is like really like innovative in a way and has done something like truly unique. Like movies have a rhythm and a pace and a cutting style. Everything is familiar. And I think when something is really innovative, you see it, and you don't think it's bad by any way, but maybe you don't understand it.
Yeah.
And you're wondering why you don't understand it. I mean, especially if you're like a cinephile, you know what I mean? You're just like, why does everybody like it? I don't understand. And you have to almost watch it a few times to just get through the layers.
Yeah.
And start understanding the language that the movie's speaking.
Yeah, that makes sense. It is a layered
Because I was the
movie.
same way. For me, Pulp Fiction, I saw it late. And by the time I saw it, I had been hearing people for weeks and weeks. Remember back in the day, you had to wait weeks to see a movie just because you just had to wait weeks. I don't know for what. And people I had heard the lines. I had heard, nobody cared about spoilers. It wasn't a thing. Just like they heard the lines, all the scenes, everything that happens. I'd already heard it spoken to me. You know what I mean? And then watch it, and I was like, this is not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's exactly. Yeah, Phil. I don't know. I just like, was I expecting this?
Now, I showed you, remember the trailer? Remember I sent that to you not too long ago?
Yeah.
The trailer is fantastic. It's one of the best trailers ever.
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel like the movie. Or does it? I don't know.
I don't know.
I think to that point.
If viewers, you should watch the Pulp Fiction trailer on your phones and just tell me.
There you go.
Anyway.
I think to that point, it is we, especially when so my way of putting the story I tell people is when I went and saw The Dark Knight, Christopher Nolan's The Dark Knight, I had it built up in my head and it was going to be the greatest movie ever and all these things. And I went and I saw it and I was like, that was all right, I guess. And then a friend of mine wanted to go see it and she's like, come on, let's go see it. And I was like, she's like, come on, let's go. I want to watch. All right. So we went and watched it and I was like, oh, there it is. That's the movie. Because I went in with like lower than low expectations. And then, oh, no, there's the movie I was expecting. And I think that happens to us a lot. We get a lot of hype around things.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're like, okay, you understand. You're like, oh, okay, it's going to be like this. It's going to be like this. Even though you should know better. And all of a sudden you go and you watch it and you're like, oh, okay, well, I mean, that was good. I could tell that was good. And then, but you have to watch it again and you're like, oh, that's the movie that I meant to watch.
Right.
Props to Tarantino. He was ready for success. He was ready for his chance, man.
He was.
Like he waited for that spot and worked tried to work his way up, doing whatever. And when he got it, he just nailed it and said, nope, I'm not changing anything. Stood up to, on Reservoir Dogs, he had a fight with the guy who plays Joe, the main, the boss there. Lawrence Tierney.
Yes.
Had a fight with Lawrence Tierney and did not back down. And he's a rookie director,
Right.
This is an established, almost legend kind of guy.
Yeah. Can you imagine, like, most people are like, okay, the first one's free. The first one's for you. I'm going to pay my dues and then I'm coming in. And he went in guns blazing.
Yeah.
Like you said, fighting, never changing his view, his perspective.
He stood up to Satan and saved
Yeah.
saved the ear scene.
Right. Yes. And that's having the cheat codes to the Matrix.
He was ready.
And then also, and he prepared other people for. He hated 80s cinema for the most part, and he evolved it by evolving our film consciousness. I think that's kind of what happened. Like the first time I saw Reservoir Dogs, I hated it. And I rented this, and I almost went back to Blockbuster Video at the time and asked the guy, why did you recommend this movie to me? And then it's just like, again, and then I let it settle and I watched it again and I watched it again and now I love it.
Right.
Like it's great, but maybe my film consciousness was not ready for it.
What did you not like
That's
about it? Do you
true,
remember
too.
what you didn't like about it?
Yeah, I just didn't like anything about it.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't like the look. I didn't like the feel. I was one of the people that the first time didn't like the ear scene. I was just like,
Oh, yeah, I mean,
what
that
is
was-
happening? This is too violent. Like this was too much. It was too much. And now everything about it is, now you love it. And I don't know if it has to do with also knowing how much he loves films and then hearing everything and everything he's taught. Like he's become a film teacher for all of film culture.
Have y'all ever tried to watch any of My Best Friend's Birthday? His first movie, his Lost movie that
No.
he was like shooting on 16 millimeter and he's putting it together. it's funny. It's interesting watch. He's in a lot of it. I mean, he's like one of the main characters there, but you see the threads of what became his later stuff in there. You know, you see threads of Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction kind of already floating around. It's interesting. You should seek it out.
I want Tarantino to direct a movie. I want his last movie to just be the diner scene at the beginning of Reservoir Dogs. Just a bunch of dudes talking for a couple hours, talking shit to each other, and because that's where I like. He excels at everything in cinema, but what I really feel like he excels is dialogue. And I just want a 2-hour movie of just these guys just sitting around in a diner and having pancakes and whatever, and just shitting all over each other and whatever, and that's the movie I want.
And that's the stuff that people are telling him to cut out of his film.
No, it's crazy. That's ridiculous.
And he was saying no. Like, why? What does this have to do with the story? That was one of the notes he was getting. Like, what does this have to do with the story?
He needs it.
His movies have changed. Like, if you look at his sort of filmography, right? Because you've got the crime era, right? It was strictly, he made crime films. That's what it was about. Then just kind of hopped off crime and into genre. And I kind of, he did his genre time. And then he went to now he's sort of in his revisionist history kind of like mode, Mm-hmm. So I don't know, man. I think that's one of the things, like, the 70s, they had Scorsese and people grew up with the Scorsese movies. I think Tarantino is always going to be like this, the 90s kind of guy.
Oh, yeah.
90s is all Tarantino.
Yeah, he's synonymous. Like that George Lucas Hollywood Museum that's opening up. I mean, he deserves a whole wing for sure, because not only for his film, but I mean, he was at the forefront right there with Kevin Smith and Robert and Linklater, all those that were just like ushering in, winning Hollywood back from what a lot of people would say it's kind of happening now. Just like everything's IP and brand, and and through the 80s there was a lot of that going on too. You didn't get those films of the 70s where those stuff written on yellow legal pads and deals set on cocktail napkins and just like random ideas that are like, that sounds like a movie, let's do it. It's like no one will even do that now. So to circle back, the breaking this film into 2 films for Kill Bill 1 and 2 had to be one of the very few artistic battles that he lost, right? I feel like, I don't know what other battles he lost, but we've heard of plenty of the ones that he's won. And people are coming to him early. Like, that was Reservoir Dogs. He was only 1 film in, and Bruce Willis was, lobbying to be in the movie just by seeing one movie, just one shot at it, right? And it was just so good. And then all of a sudden you got 80s Bruce Willis saying, I want to be in this film, right? Yeah. Like, listening to that story of him trying to lure him over, and like, not Tarantino trying to lure Bruce Willis, the other way around. Right. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's
even that's. Have you heard this story, JJ? When he basically Bruce Willis wanted to play the John Travolta role.
Oh, I had heard something like that. Yeah,
he wanted to play the John Travolta role, and Travolta was like, Tarantino said like, no, that's for John. He's in it. He already booked him. And he's like, oh yeah, well, I don't want to take John's part. Then he wanted to be the Sam Jackson part, and he was trying to talk him into that. Uh-huh. And he was like, no, I wrote that for Black Guy, this and that. And this is Bruce Willis is like the biggest star in the world. And the agent was Bruce Willis's agent was just calling him and reminding him how much money Bruce Willis's movies have made in the past year or something like that. And then Tarantino just worked him and said, who you should play is the boxer. And he's like, it's like not a lead role, but just go back. I could see you in it. I think you should do this, blah, blah, and just talked him into it. And he got Bruce Willis. All of a sudden, it's crazy.
And how perfect is that? So coincidentally, serendipitously, I retweeted something on our Dos Incredibles Twitter account today, which was a wish list of all the actors that he wanted to play for each role in Pulp Fiction. And this was pretty crazy because, again, remember, this is early Tarantino, and he's swinging for the fences on the actors he wanted to play. And then, so like Pumpkin, All right, so he said Tim Roth, and he had 3 stars for first choice, 2 stars for second choice, and then 1 star for strong possibility. He said it was written for Tim Roth, but if Tim can't do it, I want Johnny Depp, Christian Slater, Gary Oldman, Nicolas Cage, Eric Stoltz, or John Cusack.
Wow.
Right, on his first film. Like, talk about swinging for the fences. And you're going to see a pattern here. Honey Bunny, I wrote this for Amanda Plummer, but if she can't do it, I want Patricia Arquette, Lily Taylor, Jennifer Jason Leigh, pay back later on in films, Bridget Fonda, also pays back in later films, Phoebe Cates, and Marissa Tomei, which Marissa Tomei feels like she should be a Tarantino
Why is
staple.
she not in a Tarantino movie? Yeah, you're right.
Right. So this is the one that you can tell he didn't, so for Vincent, he wanted obviously Michael Madsen because that's who he wrote it for. But John Travolta, strong second choice. Alec Baldwin, Gary Oldman, Jason Patrick, Andy Garcia, Michael Keaton, which pays back later, and Denzel Washington. And so yeah,
Is this? But this is like, this feels like Tarantino's. He's working the system here.
yeah.
Like, he gets it. He's like, here's who I really want to play it. But if not, how about one of these huge stars?
Yeah.
That's his pitch. But really, he had every intention of casting the folks he picked.
Yeah, he pretty much had everybody. Lance, John Cusack, he didn't get, but he already had stars. Virginia Madsen. This one is the one that cracked me up. Is Sam Jackson wasn't? Oh yeah, he wasn't under Jules, but he was also under Lance. I just can't imagine Lance being Samuel L. Jackson. But then again, I guess Samuel L. Jackson in Jackie Brown was a version of Lance. He was just a lot cooler.
What was Lance's wife's name?
The one with all the shit in her face?
Yeah. Well, didn't Pam Grier read for that one?
Pam Grier, yes, she did. Pam Grier is on Jody. That's Jody. That's my wife. Pam Grier.
And there was a guy cast before Sam Jackson, and
Yes.
They ended up unbooking him.
Well,
Is that
yeah.
what they
Oh,
call-
wow.
Is that what they call it? Unbooking something?
Yeah, I guess it's an unbooking. Well, for Jules, it says here, Larry Fishburne wrote this part for Larry. If Larry can't do it, I want Sam Jackson, Eddie Murphy, Michael Beach, unknown as necessary. But this was the funniest thing. No rappers. He says it right there.
All right.
Again, that's working the system, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly.
Just he's assuring the executives is I won't cast a rapper.
Yeah, no rappers. So I thought that was funny. But yeah, that's on our tweets page if you want to check that out. And that comes from our friends over there at the Tarantino Universe, Tarantino World, at Tarantino World, fan account for Quentin Tarantino. It's a great Twitter account. It gives us a lot of that different material that we work from.
Now I want John Cusack in a Tarantino project.
Yeah, that was
man.
another one. Just book. Hopefully, John Cusack and Marissa Tomei. All his.
There you go. That's it
they
right
need
there.
to have
That's the next. That's the last movie.
They need to be
Just
in
those
there
two.
for sure. That would
Sitting
be
around
good.
a table, eating pancakes.
Yeah, and
shit
guess what?
talking each other.
You know who's not going to say no to him that said no to him before? Denny's. Denny's said no? Well, like, what are you, crazy? You're Denny's.
Yeah, you're
you say
freaking
yes.
Denny's, man.
It's just
Come
like in
on.
that thing we do. The nice man in the camper wants us to sign a contract. I'm signing, you're signing, we're all signing. That's what Denny's needs to be doing. This nice director, we're signing. We're freaking Denny's. How do you say no to that?
So did we ever get around to Mario's Mandalorian?
Oh, no.
Was that what we were? I thought we were talking about.
Yeah,
That's where we were, and then we got.
I thought we were about to
way-
talk about the Kill Bill thing, so
Yeah,
that's why I
we-
took it in that direction.
We went in it. But that's what we
Damn
do
it,
here.
who's doing the cue cards here?
That is Podcat, and she's currently.
So yeah, the
sleeping.
Mandalorian. What? It's like not doing so well, right?
It's not getting the buzz that it did before. I'm still enjoying it, for sure. But they're after that super high of season 2, and then you had the Boba Fett speed bump where people were unsure about this. It's still solid, but something tells me that it's not pulling the numbers it should have. But Star Wars is in trouble again. But you have a theory of what's going on.
Well, yeah, I just think the main point is, again, we're in the aftermath of the streaming wars. We're living in a post-apocalyptic media wasteland where everything is free. You get everything on demand, everything instant. Stuff hits the theater and it's on demand in 15 days.
Yeah.
Everything's gone crazy. But for a while there, we were all stuck. There was no movies, and everybody got really into the streaming shows.
Yeah.
But the movies are back. John Wick 4 this week
Yes.
is going to explode. I think it's going to break the box office. And I just think people are going back to the movies and TV is not cutting it. And now you've taken Star Wars and made it a show. You have no movie in the queue. So I just don't think people are getting excited about it. Look, just in March, we had Cocaine Bear, Megan. No, wait, this is in the last 30 days. Cocaine Bear, Megan, Ant-Man, John Wick coming up. We just had Shazam, even if, that didn't do well.
We had Scream. We had Creed.
Creed 3. Movies are back. And I just think streaming shows are not a draw at the moment.
Yeah, I think what's happening is, and what's up, B-Rose? Geek Commander's on there. Saw Daniels announced that they're working on the new Star Wars show with Jude Law.
They're doing like an episode. Are they going to hire different directors to do different episodes, I believe?
I hope they do. That would be great. But yeah, I mean, everything everywhere to bring that into the Skeleton Crew, which nobody knows anything about. I think those shows are going to do well, and to add on to what Mario, what you're saying, the shows that were supposed to be smaller movies maybe start to struggle because you're a movie. Just go be a movie.
Right.
Just go be a bigger movie and let shows be shows and let movies be movies. Because the pandemic was forcing movies to be shows, and now you're thinking that's over, so a movie needs to just go be a movie.
So when we get to it, Mandalorian season 5, that's where everything ends. Does it need to be a movie?
Well, I'm going to go down that track. So Damon Lindelof, one of the writers and creators, showrunners of Lost, was writing what was going to be the next Star Wars movie, Walked. So I was telling you guys before the show started, he's the 7th person to walk away from a Star Wars movie. They lost Kevin Feige, Patty Jenkins, Taika Waititi, the 2 guys that Phil Lord and Chris Miller, they walked off of Solo. Now they lost Damon Lindelof. Why are all these people walking away from these movies? And she's going to force it like, no, it has to be the sequel era movie, where the answer is right there. You have Dave Filoni. You let him take this smaller TV universe that he's already created. A lot of people believe that the prequel films are as loved as they are now because Dave Filoni wrote the Clone Wars animated show that pieced all the blanks together, and now it becomes that companion piece.
Is it something deeper though? Like, I feel like, have they taken their IP and now they've sort of turned it into a show, so much so that they don't know how to get it back into movie form?
It's very possible, yeah. And the same thing happened with Marvel in a way, right? They're struggling, and they're going to pull back on shows, but their movies aren't like being the blockbusters.
I mean, they just kind of
still
had their
making
first
money.
I mean, Ant-Man's probably their flop, right?
Right.
But it still made $500 million.
Yeah, $500 million flop's a good
$500
flop.
million, not $2 billion. So it's what the
Yeah,
hell?
it's no Shazam, like
Yeah.
true flop.
Let me flop that hard.
But it's perception flop, and if that perception flop, even if you make money, I mean, The Last Jedi made almost $1 billion, and how many people talk about how they hate that film, right?
Yeah.
So what is a flop these days?
And I think also the show, like you were telling me earlier that you said it felt like Land of the Lost.
It did feel like, yeah.
Have they now sort of like leaned too hard on that retro feel? Because Star Wars is technically, what is it? It happened a long time ago, so it's retro.
Right.
A long time ago in the galaxy far
It's
away.
retro by
We're
design.
still doing flip phones.
Yeah.
It's kind of like steampunk with robots kind of thing, How do you make that big screen quality again? How do you get there? Like Obi-Wan Kenobi had a TV show that was only so-so, and
I think the bigger problem is what we were talking about earlier. They just need to keep their forced studio agendas out. I think that's hurting both Marvel and Star Wars more than the fandom and the brand. I think it's these forced agendas that are being stuck in there. And there's already too much decisiveness on Twitter, as we found out ourselves recently, that people just...
we'll save that for the social media update.
They just, go on the attack. I mean, I still I still think it's a great show. It makes I get excited about it. I'm there every week. My concern is, as I'm looking around, and like Mario, you were talking about, I'm seeing people that were casually enjoying The Mandalorian maybe starting to fall off of it. And I selfishly don't want that to happen because I don't want the show to end.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm okay with it having a bookend, and I'm even okay with what the rumored talk about is take these 3 shows of Ahsoka and Mandalorian and Boba Fett and Skeleton Crew and then have that big team up movie. And I think that should be the movie that they do.
Here's another thing that could be a factor that just occurred to me. They still drop it in the middle of the night on Tuesday, right?
Yeah. Yep, 2 a.m.
Okay,
for
so
us.
that was a thing that started when everybody was working from home. Everyone's going back to work now.
Yeah.
Everyone's got to be in the office again.
Yeah.
No one's doing the 2 a.m. drop watch
Most definitely
anymore.
not. I can't.
Yeah. No, it's hard. I do
So
it,
no one's
but it's
tuning
hard.
in. And then by Friday, you've lost track of it because you're going to go see Cocaine Bear or John Wick 4.
We do it. A Mandalorian, she does it. You know, it's you power nap and then you set an alarm and then you wake up and then you watch and then you go back to sleep.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I have to rewatch it again because I was like, was that a fever dream or did I really watch? Did I really watch that? I think ironically, what could bring this back to films, you know, to get it feeling like Star Wars cinema again rather than Star Wars television, is what inspired George Lucas to begin with. A good old-fashioned cliffhanger. Think about how hyped people were for season 2. Mm-hmm. What would have happened if it would have just ended there and says, oh, that's an X-Wing to be continued in the theater? Would people have been pissed, or would people went to go see the movie of what was going to happen at the end of season 2 if there was a cliffhanger there?
But see, I think if that was the case, you have to end the series on the movie. You can't go, okay, well, everybody, let's go back to TV.
Yeah, that's tough. You're right. You can't go back.
So that's why I'm saying, like, if you're gonna make a movie, then make it make it the last thing in the series, kind of like Community.
Yeah,
they're gonna they've done their 6 seasons or whatever it was, and they're gonna get their movie. And all right, great. That's how you bookend. That's how you sail off into the sunset.
Yeah. You might be right. That might be a way to do it, because I noticed what is happening in the past 2 episodes, and we've talked about this on the Clone Wars, and we're gonna watch every episode. I mean, huge Star Wars mark. I'm gonna love all of them, so I'm gonna watch it no matter what. But they have those episodes that they call the filler episodes that have nothing to do with the larger story. That's just like it's gonna begin and end in that episode. And it could be argued that there was versions of that what's happening with the last 2 episodes of The Mandalorian, but the difference is now this isn't an animated show that people are going to be like, oh, okay, this is a zeitgeist, water cooler, every buzz Grogu trends every week that he's on their show. Could you afford to have filler episodes that have a beginning and end in that episode and that's it, for a show like The Mandalorian, which is so big, where they expect, okay, I'm only getting 8 of these, I need 8 small movies that equal, like if I sat there for 8 to 9 hours, it would be one giant movie, rather, because they don't have that right now. It's just, these are episodic. Right.
Yeah. You really do have to go the Stranger Things route if you're going to do that. If you're I couldn't believe how watching this last season of Stranger Things. It's like, man, this episode's long. I'm almost 2 hours in. Like, so if you're only going to give us 8 episodes of something, you can't have these filler episodes. And you're right. I was wondering. I was like, when are we going to get back to Grogu? Come on. Where's Mando?
Yeah.
And
that was in last week's episode, right? With Dr. Pershing.
Yeah, and I was like, so this is cool. Like, this is really interesting, but it's not why I signed up here.
Yeah.
And so you can't give me that full episode and you've taken away something from the story, maybe? Like, I don't know.
You do the play Freebird from the back.
Exactly.
It's like, where's Grogu?
That's me.
Where's Grogu?
Give me Mando. Give me Creed.
You're still Baby Yoda to me.
I can tell you what, though. If you told me you were going to have a Bo-Katan show, I'd sign up right now. If it's just going to be all Bo-Katan, I would sign up for but it's a sub-series for that you have to add another $4.99. Just shut up and take my money.
I mean, I think maybe it's going to be tough to get back to Star Wars movie. I think the only way to get there is with legacy characters, which are few and far between.
Yeah.
At this point. Yeah, because I think they've created the Star Wars TV universe now, and it's a different vibe.
It is the TV universe. And and that was designed to sign people up for subscriptions, not get people to sign up go to the theater.
Yeah.
How would, if all goes, Kathleen, if she's not fired, like the girl at Marvel, was fired, the second in command, they fired her, now losing 7 filmmakers under Kathleen Kennedy's watch, to me is a firing offense. I don't care if she was a producer on ET.
I mean, and it's not just that they lost those people. It's they lost those big names.
Huge names.
Those are huge names, and you lost all of them.
Oh, and I forgot the other. It was the 2 guys from, it was Ryan Johnson was another one.
Mm-hmm.
And the Game of Thrones duo, they dropped. Kevin Feige, Watiti, Patty Jenkins, Damon Lindelof now, all gone. Like what? Was it really them or was it you?
Yeah.
It might have been you.
What would you
Consider
say?
this, they also fired the Lord and Miller guys.
Oh, yes.
They,
So that's 8. And the last time this happened, and they're like, it doesn't matter. Star Wars Celebration's coming up. We have to announce a movie. The last time this happened was Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
And we know how that turned out because now the script was turned in, and they walked away days later, not weeks, days later. That was like an instant. Here's the script. We have notes. I'm out.
Yeah,
just like that.
We're doing you a kindness.
Yeah, man, that's just it's really scary.
Brian says
Taika's still on board.
He's still on board. Well, I don't know. I feel like Taika's in some hot water all over the place. Well, not really hot water. He just I guess put a lot of people off with his comments. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did. But yeah, Brian brought up a good point too. With Firefly and Serenity, that made a jump to the big screen after a series. But you're right. I think you're right. Like if you do take all those characters to the film, how do you get them to come back to a series?
Come back from that. I mean, I say that, but I mean, we're in a different time.
Has it been done?
I don't know. I don't think so. Like I know they got the Picard show. I think that's kind of the closest example I can think of because you had Next Generation show, then it went to the movies, and now it's kind of back to shows.
Right.
Yeah. And they sat on it.
They
for a
got the
little
legacy
while.
characters in there.
Yeah.
So and I feel like people aren't digging that show.
I think this last season is like people are feeling it, but the first 2 seasons. I feel like they wanted something from the show that they didn't get. And that's fair. Like if it became this thing that you were like, oh, that's not what I want. And so you get away from it, then you get away from it and that's fine. Because I think everybody wanted, Star Trek, The Next Generation season 8.
Yeah.
And that wasn't going to happen.
No, here's the thing that I think
happen.
Disney is learning or the folks over there is like, you can't take your movie property that's huge, that's movie size, and turn it into small TV.
Yeah.
Now you can it doesn't work in like that way in reverse. I think you could maybe boost a show into a movie, but once you reverse it, it's like you're just going against the grain, and now you've sort of like turned your movie property into something else. Now, if you think of like what works. Like, because a lot of stuff on streaming right now is like big screen feel, but like stuff like Tulsa King, right? You watch Tulsa King? Mm-hmm. Like that is it's kind of a regular show, but it's elevated because they bring Stallone, who's like a big screen name.
Yeah, and all of a sudden you have some weight.
Yeah, he elevates the show.
It had some gravitas.
Whereas Star Wars is trying to bring itself down to TV or something, or Marvel's trying to bring itself down to TV.
Both of them did it. Yeah, and B-Rose said that Rogue One was a step in the right direction where it captured the flavor, but it was different enough that it still did as well. right?
Here's how you do it. You take, so that's a great idea, is you have a Rogue One type movie and you start to build. Here's your next 3 movies or here's your next 6 movies, and you build it from a Rogue One, like who are these people, like, or maybe there's a story that we all know from the Star Wars universe, and so we take from that and then we just build these other characters we don't know about, but that are from these stories, and then you just there's your next part of your franchise, and you build it from a Rogue One, because Rogue One was excellent.
Oh yeah.
And so you
really
build it
was.
from a Rogue One type movie, and then boom, you have your next 3 to 6 movies.
Knights of the Old Republic. There it is.
Oh yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah.
You're signing there. Although I think they could have done it, and I'm going to go back because that season finale was so strong. Okay, instead of the cliffhanger of like who's in that ship, you do it. You have the whole Luke Skywalker scene. Sorry, I always get Hardware Wars mixed up with Star Wars. You have that whole entire scene, and they go, and he hands Grogu. You have the emotion, and you give him Luke's hand, and him and R2 go. They turn around, and then the elevator door closes and says, "Coming next summer, the new Jedi, the new Jedi Order." Boom. Everybody would have bought tickets that day. Tickets on sale now. They would have crashed their site.
Oh yeah, that'd have been over.
They would have crashed their site, because the problem is now you waited so long for that such a powerful moment, and then they kind of threw in and took away from in Book of Boba Fett, like, "Hey, surprise, I'm here." And now people are like, okay, now what's next? And now they're going back to the cinematic television, which again, it's a great TV show. But the question is, how do they get back to films? I don't have any heat with the Star Wars show. I love Land of Lost. It's a show, but I do want to come back in that cinema. I was watching some of the old prequel reaction videos, and just like to hear that first trumpet, hit in the theater, just nothing hits like it. No. Where people it's just a pop as soon as you hear, bang, people just pop.
And I think people want it. People really do want it, and they want that first pop right there, and they just want to get lost in it, and they're just not giving it to us.
No,
I don't know if it's possible, guys.
It's going to be tough if they stick. I think honestly they should have okay, fine. Kathleen Kennedy wants the sequel trilogy to still be alive. Make that the television show and just reverse it. Make this fine. Keep them going. Again, I told you before, there was nothing wrong with the characters. It's just how they were booked. Put them on television shows and then move the other ones. Just flip-flop it. I want to see Ahsoka on the big screen.
Right.
Do a film event where if you want to see the first 3 episodes of Ahsoka, but now that doesn't work always, because then they'll just say, no, I'll just wait for it to be on the app. It's just like, I'd rather see them on the big screen.
Yeah, I was thinking about it, and thinking about movies coming back to TV, and two that don't work, especially don't work, were they tried to make a Crow TV show.
Oh yeah.
And Mortal Kombat.
Right.
They had a TV show, and those were absolutely atrocious.
I didn't see those.
Yeah, those were very good.
Yeah, what show?
The Crow, and then they had
Mortal
Kombat.
I remember the Crow show.
Yeah. And I can't remember the actor's name, but he did a really good Brandon Lee. He looked just like him, and it's really creepy.
I think that's the banana way guy.
That's the strong guy.
That's only the strong guy, Mark Dacascos.
Yep.
Oh man, yeah. I don't know, but there's a lot of turmoil at the House of Mouse right now.
House of Mouse. Like again.
Right.
I don't know what happened of why the second in command at Marvel was fired.
Well,
or walked away, mutually endeavored,
right,
mutually parted. I don't know any of the story there.
I mean, it probably has something to do with how Ant-Man Quantumania just got buried.
And you said you couldn't. I liked it, but you said you couldn't hang. JJ, you thought it had too many jokes. It got too jokey.
I mean, I understand. It's Paul Rudd, but like, I just like Michael Douglas, like I like ants. Like you do a great. You know, I like ants. Like it just, I was like, okay, cool.
Ants.
Like I can't do that joke 9 times in this movie. You know,
Yeah.
and so I thought it could have been better. For what it was okay. You know, the visuals were, I mean, just top notch.
Yeah. They were really good.
I really want who's the guy playing Kang the Conqueror with
Oh yeah.
God,
Jonathan Majors.
yeah,
Jonathan Majors.
I want him to do all the things, and I hope this doesn't just really just put a kink in
I hope not. Yeah, because
he's fantastic.
Yeah, and I feel like we're gonna get a different version. And I know when we get to the end, like I know with the Kang Wars and the Kang Dynasty and the Secret Wars are gonna be there. And I know it's like it requires patience. That we had patience before because we had no idea what Infinity War and Endgame that was gonna be.
Yeah.
How important that was gonna be to cinema as a whole, of just like the culmination of comic book movies all at once. Now we know it's coming, and I feel like people are kind of like, "Come on, hurry up, let's get there."
Right, that's true.
And that
It-
makes it a little tougher.
It took 10 years to get there.
Yeah, it took a long time to
it
get
took a
there.
long time. Yeah.
That's
And
another one.
then there was a lot of stuff that wasn't their fault, right? You know, Chadwick Boseman passing.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
So you can say that Wakanda Forever was great, but that was a very emotional film. But that made it almost encapsulated because that was a goodbye to Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now on a lighter turn, it's going to be a goodbye to James Gunn and a goodbye to like a lot of those Guardians Galaxy, and that's their next movie. And he's saying goodbye. I'm going to go do this somewhere else, so they don't have something else that's going to prop them up.
Goodbye. I'm gonna go direct Superman. Yeah. See you later, Guardians of the Galaxy. See
I think we look back
you later,
on
Drax.
on that part of Marvel with some rose-colored glasses, not remembering that the first 2 Thor movies were garbage. The first Captain America movie, I hated. I thought it was awful.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I think we look back and go, oh man, it was great and all these things. No, we need to remember there was a lot of bad to get to the lot of good that we had.
Right. Yeah, there were. You're the Dark World. There's still people that talk about how much they hated that.
So bad.
That they hated that Thor. So there was definitely some bad ones.
Yeah.
So I think booking Jonathan Majors is great because you need somebody that's going to be able to follow up what Josh Brolin did with Thanos. So
Yeah, you had
and
to
you're
have
not going to
that
be able to
strong-
lean on James Gunn, and I think that had a lot to do with the Winter Soldier. Right, the Russo brothers, they started changing the trajectory then of just like with Winter Soldier and Civil War.
Yeah.
And that was all coming. Who's going to be that now? There's no. People could have thought maybe it would have been Taika, but he got a lot of heat after Love and Thunder.
Yeah.
Like he got a lot of heat. So who's their go-to director right now? That
Question.
and maybe that's more what they're missing than the actors or the writing. So
I mean, they got to kick it back to Favreau, but he's busy doing Star Wars. Right? They got to pull him back in.
yeah, that would be
Man.
interesting.
The guy from Swingers. His friends were right. He is money. He was
He's
so money.
He's so money.
Hey, I think we should take a break real quick, but I wanted to ask you one more time, Jeff, because is this the Dukes of Hazzard movie?
The beginning.
Is this the one?
Whoa, that's interesting. Is that
Oh, that's
Dukes of Hazzard prequel you found?
that's I know. I swear I know that the blonde guy. Oh, I know him from somewhere. But
I
yeah,
have no idea. There's like a whole Mandela effect universe of Dukes of Hazzard.
Oh my goodness.
Anyways,
I don't even know what to make of that. That looked like did nothing like Daisy Dukes in there
no,
either.
definitely not.
All right, we will be right back.
Now, get 2-day rentals on all new releases at Rogers Video.
Hi, Video Sam's got exciting news for you. You can now rent a video overnight and hire these great movies from only 99 cents. But the best news is that by purchasing our special package plan, you can have this VCR absolutely free. Ring now, 892-3311 for details of this amazing offer. You could have a video at home tonight. Remember, 892-3311. Video Sam's libraries are convenient to you.
Movie tonight on video. Movie tonight on video.
You can rent a video player, too. There's a store near you, sweetheart.
Movie tonight on video.
They're helpful and friendly with films for the whole family.
Movie tonight on video. Movie tonight on video.
Boy, I'm bored.
Don't be bored. Join the party. Call 1-976-8888. There's a great time waiting for you right now. Meet new friends or just listen in. Everybody's doing it. So call 1-976-8888.
Where was that party?
So, what are you waiting for? Don't be left out on all the fun. Call right now, 1-976-8888. 88 cents per minute billed to your phone. Brought to you by Omegaphone.
Just like you, I was really skeptical about which one of the party lines is really the best. It's 1-976-BEST. It's easier than going to some singles bar. The phone's right there within your reach. And it's a real kick because you get started talking with everyone on the line right away. I got together with this guy I met on the best party line, and I'll tell you, it's fun, exciting, and the best way for you to meet someone new. The best party line. It's just a phone call away.
Do you sometimes sit alone, wishing for the perfect fantasy? Has love passed you by? Do you dream of encounters with a perfect mate? Or spending precious moments getting close to someone you could really love? For just 99 cents per minute, indulge your fantasy. It's live. Call 1-976-DATE now.
Want a beer? Mm-hmm. You know, this is really an interesting six-pack. See how it's completely covered? See the ends? Covered. Mm-hmm. That's so light won't get in. Light can spoil beer. Mm-hmm. And this is good beer, so they don't want light messing around with it.
Well, in that case, why don't we turn off the lights?
Where are you going? To get a Stroh's. That's about a 200-mile hike through heavy snow. I know. If you think of it, get two. From one beer lover to another's Stroh's.
I don't know what to do. What would you do if you were me? America's got this beer. It's called Stroh's Light, and it's fire brewed. You know, it's not like any other beer. So I called the State Department and say, let's make a trade. Our cigars for your Stroh's Light. They say, Fidel, you're going to have to forget about it.
It's not the same as other lights. It's fire brewed Stroh's Light.
We're only 90 miles away. We can't even get a decent beer.
Okay, we're coming back to the regular show. Wait, I have one other plug. I gotta get in, sorry. I'll drop this one. Sorry, didn't have the audio on that one, but yeah, happy birthday, Lucha Lottie.
Happy birthday, and JJ's here, so I'll make sure I actually say it. Feliz Cumpleaños. Años.
There we go.
Feliz cumpleaños, Lucha. So I'm glad you're here for that. So we'll do a cheers to her birthday with our segment of weird beers.
It's not so much weird because it's evolved now.
I know, it is evolved. Because, again, we started this pattern last week. We went with a big brand that had a very weird flavor that we went to. These are from our friends up north. They are doctors, but they do not practice medicine. That's right. It is, unless the medicine is goodness, it is a Dr. Pepper, but strawberries and cream. Have you guys, obviously Mario, so JJ, have you seen these before?
I hadn't seen these before.
No.
I went to go steal a drink from Mario's fridge here, and I thought I was stealing a Dr. Pepper. I break this thing open. I'm like, this is delicious. It's the best Dr. Pepper I've ever had. And I look at the can like, what?
Yeah, it's strawberries. And what's cool about this is Dr. Pepper's always been kind of a cousin to the colas, right? And the colas, the go-to fruit was cherry. But Dr. Pepper always had a little bit of the cherry in one of its 12. Is it 12 secret flavors?
Isn't it prunes?
Isn't
Dr. Pepper prune soda?
It might be prunes. It definitely.
That's why it's a doctor. That's why it's like help.
Oh, that's right. I thought the
I don't
other
know if
doc
that's
that
true.
put in the cocaine bear drink.
Have a 6 Dr. Peppers and call me in the morning.
Yeah, so well, let's give it a whirl. Let's pop it. Let's pop the top. And JJ, you already did, so you have to.
I jumped in there. Oh yeah,
It smells like strawberries and cream.
it sure does.
You guys are big fans of the what do they call them? The remix machines now, where you can just take flavors and mix it with your favorite sodas, like in the fast food. Those are good. So
I like to add like a little extra vanilla to my Big Red.
yeah. Oh, that's a good one. Yeah, that's some cherry vanilla.
They should add the button on there for what everyone's going to make anyway. Just add the suicide button.
Yeah.
that's true.
That's a great idea.
Maybe add the suicide button. Yep.
Yeah, shout out to our friends at Cabo Bob's. You can suicide all those drinks, and you're going to be great. They use all that pure cane sugar,
yeah.
and man, it's so good.
Love me some.
So
Cabo
shout out
Bob's.
to John and.
All right,
Cabo's.
what do you think of the strawberries and cream and prunes soda?
It's like strawberries, cream, Dr. Pepper, all in a row. It just rolled down your tongue just like that.
Like
very good.
I'm always afraid of like when sodas do like different flavors. It's already bad enough that we're drinking this artificial flavoring,
right?
But like on top of it, they put like the cherry or whatever, and then like you really taste the artificial. Like this is where we're at as a society, where we can taste the artificial in something artificial. This is where we've evolved to.
Hey, my artificial tastes artificial,
right? And so you got artificial in my artificial, but this one really like gels together. These
three good flavors.
Yeah, they really gel together.
Because there's a few sodas that are really good for floats and shakes flavors.
I could see this being a float, sure.
Yeah, root beer, cream, and now Dr. Pepper strawberry and cream.
Yeah.
You totally. It almost tastes like a melted Burger King milkshake. Strawberry.
Get one of these for your lady friend.
That's for Lucha Lottie for your birthday. We drinking your birthday sodas. No, that's good stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this is fantastic.
We will get some weird beers back on the beer segment, but there's just been so many weird sodas that we had to go.
Yeah,
we had to go with the weird drinks one. So,
I was gonna say, we had a lot of social media stuff happen.
We did.
So I don't know if you want.
Do you want the good news first? Or do you want the bad news?
I wish I had a social media update bumper. Put that on my list of things to do. But yes,
bad news first or good news?
I mean, how do they usually do it?
Good news, I prefer bad news first.
Bad news first. Okay,
let's do bad news first. Well, not that it's bad news, but
wait. Before you go into that, can you just tell people to like and subscribe?
Yes, make sure you like, subscribe, and share across. We're on all platforms. We even joined the blue one. That's right. We joined the blue one. We're on there. So like, subscribe, and share. It helps train those algorithms to feed you the fun stuff.
If you're watching right now, hit that like button.
right
It's
now.
free.
Yeah.
It's fine. You can do it.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Literally costs you nothing.
Yeah.
To just hit it and hit like.
Yeah, just be and then
let
boom.
the algorithm know you want to watch Just Incredible.
Yeah, and we're friends, and we talk to you. We answer comments. We
are your friends. We'll answer.
We're not.
We'll send you stuff in the mail sometimes.
Yeah.
You don't.
Yeah.
Let that parasocial relationship grow.
I like that. Well done.
All right. So what happened on social media updates?
So
this week?
bad news for. So we had a drop last week. We sometimes fantasy book here, whether it's movies or wrestling, and I fantasy booked a what if scenario, and on one of our shows of booking Jim Cornette coming back with CM Punk to AEW to feud with the Elite, because again, that's the being in the business for 10 years. I thought I had a little bit of validity to my booking,
Sure.
but apparently no, I wasn't. It's more you got to be
You're asking,
angry on
you're asking
Twitter.
for nuclear heat. Right
Yes,
there.
So-
it was nuclear heat. And granted, I had no idea, and I still don't know the full story behind what happened with him and Sheeta and the other. What's
Riho?
Riho, yeah. I had no idea. I had no idea going into this.
What's that story?
I didn't fully look it up, other than that there was some stuff between her and Kenny Omega, and then she was trying to.
Jim Cornette's out here talking all these kinds of things and really putting like the Joshi wrestlers down and saying that that Kenny Omega is getting in all these Joshi wrestlers' pants and that's the only reason they're in AEW, and never mind that these two women are two of the absolute top women on the card.
Yeah, and they're fantastic wrestlers, and I think they're great. And this is coming now from Jim Cornette, who admittedly. He pretty much says he's done with pro wrestling, because what was pro wrestling to him is not what is now. Right. And he's done. So he is the equivalent of a shock jock, right? He's the shock jock for pro wrestling. And he's going to say a lot of stuff. And when he says, he's not going to hold back. I was just coming it from the Iron Sheik in the 1980s, when the Iran hostage affair. That's how he got his heat, even though it was a very real scenario. I compared it to Edge and having the entanglement with Lita during what Matt, and they turned that into money. So I was just coming from the angle of just like make this have a positive effect on the box office, with having Punk and Elite, and who else to be a bigger heat magnet for AEW than to Jim Cornette, who I was just coming from the spot of just like he was very outspoken critic of their product. Not knowing any of the other stuff. And that was it, dude. That was just like, I told you, it was F My Mother was one of the big ones. Go kill myself. Go fall in a hole.
Told us to kill ourselves?
Yeah. Go in a hole and die, of starvation. It was just like calling me, who was in the business for 10 years. I was the mark.
Right.
I was the mark, and I was just like, and I was not a bot, so I was actually replying to all of these people, and discussing my end and I was willing to listen. And once I saw all the stuff with like Riho, and I was like, look, it's 2023. You're right. It's not going to go. It's a dead on arrival. But guess what? I don't work for them. It was a fantasy booking. This is not real. So when the what if was like, oh, hell no, and that was the answer, and that was the end of it.
Yeah.
Just like, what did it have to do with having sex with my passed away mom? It was like, that didn't even make any sense. So, but what was really more frustrating about it, because obviously we're trying to drive people to our YouTube so we can do what we do every week, which is just like, we're all fans, whether it's movies or films. That's all we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So it didn't equate to that. So that tells me all the people that were on the attack did not even watch the video.
Yeah, right.
They just saw the headline, and then that was it.
Yeah.
And it was very, I never got mad. It was very disheartening, and it was just like, wow. It was very disappointing to be reminded that pro wrestling as we knew it is gone.
Do you think, what percentage of this do you think was actual people as opposed to bots?
Very low. Because the people who were people, and that was my test, being in technology as well, my test was, I'm going to reply and see who replies and then have a conversation. And there was a few people that we did have a conversation, and they did show me the stuff about Jim Cornette that I had no idea. And it turns out then we followed each other and we had good conversations, and they enlightened me to it. And I was totally fine with. It was the other ones that didn't. They took the time to like share it, even though they disagreed with. Oh, this is a horrible take. I don't agree with that. Everybody needs to see this. It reminded me of that SNL skit when Tom Hanks is like, "Oh, this milk went bad. It's spoiled. Here, taste." It's like, no, just throw it out. Just like it's done.
Right.
So it turned out it was a good conversation with the few people. So if you are watching or you did, I do appreciate the conversation showing. It was a what if scenario. It clearly would have gotten heat because it got heat. So, but that being said, it's something that if it's so negative, it's not worth it. And that's what it is. And we talked about it with Wayne on here. It's no longer like we had an inciting incident, let's make money with it. Now it's we had an inciting incident, let's call HR.
Right. Yeah.
And that just when I was in wrestling, that didn't exist. Right. Yeah. There was no HR. Because trust me, I saw a lot of HR violations in pro wrestling, a lot of OSHA violations in wrestling, and probably a lot of illegal activities. So it was just it was coming from the right place. But anyway, that's what that turned into. But at the same time, something big was happening. This was on Twitter, going to our YouTube, on our TikTok. Mario's Machete Cuts, who we all love here very much, went, to quote Pat Patterson, absolutely banana. And as of this time, it is up to 1.3 million views.
Nice.
Yes, 1.3 million views for Mario's Machete Cuts. That's our very first. Let's get a round of applause, fake applause on that soundboard. 1.3 million views from Mario's Machete Cuts.
It's not my thing. It's all of it. You're the editor on this thing.
But I do.
The director of
it's just
content.
You know how I like using words that have the same first letter. So it's like it was Mario's Machete Cuts. It was there. It was born of a machete order of the Star Wars viewing on how to watch Star Wars. And then Mario first did it with Evil Dead and kind of like blew my mind. And that one went really bonkers too. Then we did a quick one when we had Rainbow on here for like how should she jump into Friday the 13th. And then I was like, well, you got to do Rocky now. And then man, he just like took the elevator, pressed dong, and went up to a whole nother level. And it was great.
I still contend that we need the Living in America performance.
We do need it in our lives, but
we do.
Yes,
but you absolutely knocked it out of the park with your machete cut of the Rocky the Rocky series.
Right, and it was basically a lot of people redeemed it the speed run to Creed 3, and I was like, that's fair. I mean, it's because we're not telling you And here's the irony. I'm going to tell you, Mario. Sorry, I'm going to blow your spot right here. He probably loves Rocky 4 and 5 more than any of you out there. That's the thing. And it's just like it was a very positive post, unlike the other Twitter interact. This was a very positive post. And the most heat that you're getting is like, I can't skip Rocky 4. And then I was like, of course you can. It's montage muscle. You can't skip that.
It's mostly montages, that one.
It's montage muscle.
Yeah.
So, but he loves it the most. He loves 5 the most. So
I love 5 too.
Yeah,
I'm a big fan of 5.
Here, we're not saying don't skip any, but if you never watched Rocky before and all of a sudden you want to see Creed 3, here's your cut. And there's a lot of people, Mario, that were also requesting that you make a super cut and share a private link so they don't actually have to take their VCR and keep changing tapes. Because like, man, this is too much work. And it's like, yeah, you're telling me, well, what do you think the VCR feels? And yes, we said VCR because you're making DVD spin. Streaming services are crashing.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But trying to do the cut because this was the first time you were actually telling people to stop mid-film and then insert the other film in there. So that was like, that was so next level.
That is the any percent speed run to get to Creed.
Yes. So it was good. It has its own official playlist on YouTube as well, and we will be doing some more. This week was scheduled to be Gritty Cops and Crime Films with our friend Frank from Long Island, who unfortunately he
I love our guest names.
Yes, Frank from
musician.
Yeah, Frank from Long
Island.
Frank from Long Island is perfect. But yeah, we're gonna try to get him in next week. But I think your machete cut is how to properly consume the Police Academy series.
Oh,
so I don't mean to spoil it, but that's where we're going to be going next.
Oh man, I look forward to that. I look forward to hearing that one.
So yeah, that should be really good. So Frank will be here, but yeah,
I'll have to watch one that I've never watched before.
There's like 9 of them, aren't there?
But there's one that I have never seen,
and there's also the animated series.
Oh, the animated series.
There's an animated series.
How many seasons of that is there? What the 80s were crazy. What happens in Police Academy 1 that makes you think this would be a good cartoon for kids? Like I kind of get Rambo because it's like, oh, shoot 'em up, bang bang, and they had the Rambo. Remember the Rambo kits for kids?
Oh yeah.
It comes with a hand grenade and a compass,
and you get the knife,
and all of them had the little medallion,
yeah,
and the headband. But anyway, yeah, Police Academy. I need to watch some of the series, and I've actually never seen Mission to Miami or.
Oh, that's Assignment Miami Beach is actually one of the best police.
I've heard that.
Yeah, it's one of the best ones.
Yeah,
surprisingly, it's one of the best.
I got to be honest. I tuned out after Steve Guttenberg.
No, you got it. That'll bring you back. That will bring you back. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, while we're just don't forget to you can follow us. You can go to our linktree.com/doseincredibles, or you can go to doseincredibles.com and you can find all those links, whether it's our TikTok, the blue one, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, LinkedIn. Oh yeah, the other blue one. So yeah, follow us on there. That's where we've been trying to get these shorts out fast and furious for sure. So
I'm gonna put Dos Incredibles on my LinkedIn, just like
do it
regular contributor. Dos Incredibles.
Yeah,
I think actually you can, because I do have that under mine, so you can just find the company and just attach yourself to it.
We'll endorse you.
Perfect. You're totally endorsed.
Yeah, I'm in.
You're endorsed for speed runs and super cuts.
I'm in.
So speaking of animations, we're going to get into John Wick, which is the main event of this show. But I was just sitting there when I was looking up your Dukes of Hazzard gimmick, and I saw there was a Dukes animated show.
What?
Yeah, there's a Dukes animated show.
Dukes animated? Do you have it on your...
No, I do not have it. So if you just type in, it's just called The Dukes, and it's an animated show. So we can fix this in post. Just pull it up and say, "Is this the Dukes of Hazzard movie you're talking about?"
Whoa! And it was in 1982.
Yeah,
the 80s was a wild time.
80s is wild.
So,
a cartoon for kids about liquor bootleggers with a Confederate flag on their car.
Because back when I used to watch Dukes of Hazzard, I had no idea what moonshine was, and also living in Long Island, I had no idea what moonshine was.
It sounded so awesome.
Yeah. Right? All I remember is just they're selling something that they can use also as gasoline in the car. Because one time they ran out of gas and they used the moonshine, and that was their gas.
The cartoon contained the original voices from the TV show.
Oh, wow. John Schneider, Tom Wopat, right? Catherine Bach.
Yeah.
Well, Uncle Jesse, who was he? Jumpton Owens. Roscoe P. Coltrane, Boss Hogg, Enos. Evening Enos.
We're all in there.
Yeah, they're all in there. So I feel like we haven't done anything like this since Clerks. Remember, Clerks was an animated show that didn't get picked up. Clerks was ahead of its time.
Yes, it was.
And Clerks, the animated series, needs to be put on a streaming service, which, by the way, shout out to Kevin Smith for the Cruise Askew that's coming next year. I'm really dancing around possibly going on that. But anyway, since Clerks, the animated show, we haven't done something. So I need you guys, I need your opinion. You see the shirt I'm wearing this week, right? GTL, Jim Tannen Laundry. You know what that is. And I was watching Jersey Shore Family Vacation, and they're getting older. Mm-hmm. Why have they never done an animated Jersey Shore show? And just now use the regular voices. Like, let's really tell me that's not. I feel like that's made to be animated. All those characters are so over. because they're all so animated that literally just make them cartoons then.
Because I'll tell you exactly why. Because it's too much trouble to draw 24 frames a second of all of them when they can just film them.
That's just a lot easier.
Hey, look, here's here's the Duke's cartoon.
Oh my gosh.
Is this the Dukes of Hazzard movie?
Is this the Dukes of Hazzard movie? I don't remember the dog. Wait, no, the dog is
Flash.
Dog's Flash.
Okay, but what
who's
about
the raccoon?
I don't know who the raccoon is. That's new. I do not remember a raccoon. They got no Enos. Like, let's get rid of the deputy and replace him with a raccoon.
Where's Cooter?
Cooter. Oh, yeah, Cooter. That's right.
Anyway, okay. This is what people tune in for. Sorry.
Mario's going to find it. He's going to find it. He's going to find it.
All right, before we go into John Wick, I know I keep teasing it, but we're going to do it, I promise. But there's one more thing I got to bring up. We've done a few shows about this in the past and some podcasts. What do you guys feel about Andy Kaufman going into the WWE Hall of Fame?
Well, I think this would be the perfect time for him to finally reveal himself.
I agree.
At the award ceremony.
Yeah.
If he came out and accepted the award.
If he came out and accepted the award. You know what? It's great. It's great. I mean, I guess if how do they they just get to decide that? He never wrestled in WWE.
Never.
So
Actually, here's the unfun fact.
they turned him down.
They turned him down.
Yeah. So how do they get to just decide, well, he's in our Hall of Fame now?
Well, because they became the custodians of the business, which now is completely different. But the custodians of the past, they took that all over. So I don't know. It's still, to me, Cyndi Lauper is still the Bruno Sammartino snub of the celebrity wing, because without Cyndi Lauper, there's no rock and wrestling, there's no Goonies, there's no wrestling cartoon, there's no Hulk Hogan. It's just like it's
I really
done.
hope that that Becky Lynch playing her on
Young Rock.
on Young Rock, like I hope that that reawakens that, maybe like a campaign for her.
I would like that
for like a Cyndi Lauper to get it, because her, first of all, like Becky Lynch trying her hardest to do Cyndi Lauper's voice is the greatest thing ever.
I missed that.
It's so good.
She's got her Irish accent trying to do a Long Island accent.
Right, it's so good. I love it. But I really hope that kind of like, just kind of, oh hey, Cyndi Lauper is like she's a friend to wrestling.
Yeah,
she needs and she needs to be, she needs to be in the Hall of Fame. She's probably more deserving than a couple people in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely, 100%.
Most definitely, Cyndi Lauper.
Yeah, what a snub. She was in the ring. She was taking bumps.
Yeah.
She had Wendy Richter. I mean, she was doing stuff. She was doing stuff on house shows. I mean, it's ridiculous. But the funny thing about the Andy Kaufman thing, and this goes along with the Twitter attack that we survived. Can you imagine? Because you remember, Andy Kaufman was the intergender champion of the world by wrestling women for a shoot. Well, as much of a shoot as it could be with Andy Kaufman. In 2023, that's not going to go well either way. Because there's probably a ton of women that would whip his ass, like legit whip his. Can you imagine going there and Ronda Rousey comes into the ring? Geez. Like she would just like tear him to shreds.
Oh yeah.
Or option B, there's just like a normal female, and he rips her to shreds, and now you just beat up a girl. Like, he can't win in this scenario. So I don't know if they're gonna. But he's a comedian. They're probably going to highlight that it was just like this was a work. And now they have to basically come out and say it was a work, right?
Yeah. But what was great about him, though, was, he kept kayfabe alive. Like him and Jerry Lawler.
Oh, man.
Like,
so good.
Like that was definitely one of those, like, is this, wait, I thought wrestling was fake. Like, and Jerry Lawler just smacked the absolute crap out of Andy Kaufman. Like,
yeah.
Wow.
And just told him with his eyes. He called it in the ring on Late Night with David Letterman.
Yeah.
He called it in the ring.
And he loved it.
Yeah.
He loved every second of it.
Oh,
And I'm
man.
like, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So very, very deserving of being in the Hall of Fame, but it would
Most
be
of them.
interesting on how they're going to highlight it.
It just seems odd to me that they can just claim him in the Hall of Fame, but I guess somebody, maybe his estate, somebody's got to sign off on that.
Yeah, I feel like you do get some kind of cash compensation
would
for
think
that.
so.
I wouldn't doubt it, yeah.
But is Tony Clifton going to be there to accept, or what's going to happen? Who's going to?
I
It
mean-
have to be Lawler's going to have to induct.
Yeah,
him.
Lawler has to induct him for
But
sure.
who'll get the award? Will it be Bob Zamuda?
It's got
Tony Clifton.
It's got to be Bob Zamuda, right?
Yeah.
Or Tony Clifton or Andy Kaufman.
Weird side note: I watched DC Cab the other day.
Oh,
Bob Zamuda's in that as one of the heel cab drivers.
Zamuda's in that?
Yeah, and he's got like a part throughout the movie. He's like part of. I forget what the name of the heel cab drivers are. DC Cab. What a great movie.
Oh, the green.
Why don't we get
the
more
green
DC cabs?
Oh man, take a drink because we just brought up Bill Maher earlier, and now Bill Maher's in DC Cab.
Oh shit! There
Bill
it is.
Maher,
There it is.
Mr. T, Gary Busey. I don't work on January the 8th. That's Elvis's birthday.
Paul Rodriguez, Marsha Warfield, Mr. T, Michael Baldwin.
Oh, Michael Baldwin. That's right. My Bodyguard.
Yeah.
Come on.
Wow.
A cast of thousands for DC. Cab.
Let's look at the cast. Let me just look this up real quick. Because, I mean, do you remember DC Cab is one of those movies that we just described earlier that if it was a bad movie,
You watch it over and
I
over
watched
again.
it over on cable
Yeah.
because they played it all the time. Mm-hmm. Let's see. And I know this had like a really good director too, like somebody huge. DC Cab. We had Adam Baldwin, Bill Maher, Paul Rodriguez, Irene Cara.
Oh my god.
Oh, the Barbarian Brothers.
Oh, that's right.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Marsha Wharf. Yeah, Bob Zamuda was Cubby. It's just endless, yeah.
Yeah, because they had the old cabs and the new cabs were coming up with stuff like credit card machines and all that fancy tech.
Yeah. Dude, the Barbarian Brothers.
Yeah, I forgot they were in that too. What a great movie.
Okay.
And great artwork too, by the way. So definitely check that out.
Directed by...
Oh yeah, who was the director?
It was directed by... Hold on. I knew it was somebody big. Hold on. Director. Overview? Give me... Sorry. Joel Schumacher.
What?
Directed by Joel Schumacher.
Joel Schumacher directed DC Cab.
Yeah.
Oh,
DC
get
Cab,
out of
1988
here,
action comedy
dude.
written,
Joel Schumacher. That's so good. And again, well, I have no heat with it. I loved it.
Okay, if I could chat with Bill Maher, which for a second, go on that Club Random. I'd have to ask about DC Cab.
I'd be curious of what he was saying
Because this is like all probably the big comics that were coming up in the early 80s, like in the clubs, right?
Yeah.
Oh,
They
yeah.
threw them all in one movie.
Yeah.
And it's funny, he became obviously known for his politics, but that was the first time I heard him politics because he was talking about politics even in the movie, right? He was talking about the White House said this, the White House said that. Like as he was running into the cab, like he went up to do, he was driving up for some kind of like, what do you call it? Holding up some picketing around the White House. And I was just like, but that was his gimmick. And that became his whole entire career. I want to see. All right, here's the double feature we got a book in our theater. Ready? Here it is. DC Cab with. I'm going to give Mario a test here. What is the name of the movie that has Bill Murray's brother that's not named Brian?
Moving Violations.
Moving Violations. That's right. I want DC Cab and Moving Violations, who also had Clara Peller, Where's the Beef fame. I think that would be a great double feature.
Oh, and what's her name from Bride of Chucky?
Bride of Chucky. Oh, yeah. Meg Tilly's in that.
Meg Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer Tilly.
Jennifer
Jennifer
Tilly.
Tilly.
Yeah, Jennifer Tilly.
Look, here's DC Cab. Mr. T as the cab driver.
That's right. He had that Rolls Royce grill on the top. Oh, the 80s. Wow, it's just such a mad time. Like everything that you can,
Right.
all the stuff now. That's
Where is
culture.
Paul Rodriguez nowadays?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know.
Man.
He's probably he's pretty. I think he's pretty up there. But,
Yeah, he's getting up there.
Yeah, he has to be.
But yeah, I mean, again, doubling back to our conversation, Tarantino has a lot of heat with 80s movies, but it's hard not to look back at some of them fondly. If you were from the cable era, there's just certain things you were fed, and you couldn't help but like it. You saw it so many times, you just loved it.
Yeah. You just watch it, and I guess they did have a somewhat of a charm, and I'm curious about bad movies these days, if that charm is going to be able to withstand the test of time.
Is something like what's Sharknado? You know, is that intentionally bad, or is it just like, you know, could that fall under like a bad movie and we watch it enough times?
I think people are going to remember something like Sharknado, even though they were trying to become Sharknado. DC Cab was trying to be a legit straight up comedy about cab drivers, where I think Sharknado is like, this will be funny. People will kind of tune it in and we'll turn it into one big commercial and we'll make a lot of money from Taco Bell. They kind of knew the assignment, but you're right. I think there are going to be a few that some people will look at fondly, and I think Sharknado is one of them, probably. Safe to say. Oh, yes, look at the Barbarian Brothers.
Gary Busey. There's one, I saw this recently. I saw it recently. I recommend revisiting it. The end sequence, the whole end third act is kind of a bunch of insanity. And the one scene where the Barbarian Brothers come crashing through this family's window is like just hilarious.
Yeah, that was a great movie. What a callback. We just inadvertently had a great retro review of DC Cab. I still feel like, I mean, Alamo is great, especially on Tuesdays and Wednesdays, but there's a lot of movies that they don't get deep enough on their cuts, like at New Beverly. And this would be the type of movies we need to see. Where's our DC Cab? Where's our Summer School with Mark Harmon? Where's Moving Violations?
Oh, Summer School with Mark Harmon?
Yeah. Oh, man. That's another one that is just like, you watch that over and over and over again, and it was just so good.
Yeah.
Man, it's just, and it gets better with it. I actually bought it and watched it on a plane once just to see if I got that same feeling. Yeah, and it was just like, and it did.
I haven't seen that in a minute, but I do have fond memories.
Oh, yeah, it was so good.
Yep.
They're smart as you and me. You and I. All of us. Oh man, that was so good. Yeah, that's the cuts we need. Okay. I mean, I know the 80s also had their zapped movies.
God, yeah.
And there were some that were considered today a crime.
Can you imagine what the future generations are going to look back at some of those 80s comedies? Was everybody a sex pest in the 80s? What is going on?
I think we just need to like just pass on to future generations like the 80s was a different time.
It was a very different time.
Yeah.
Don't judge us by the movies.
Right.
But people thought it was hilarious.
It was. Yeah, because it was all 80s was all boobs movies, you know, and this is a butt generation.
Yeah, that's true. No, we are in the butt generation.
Yeah, we were in the butt generation, but that was the 80s was the boobs generation. Because I remember my uncles coming over and I was like, this is funny. And they're like, yeah, we want to watch it too. And they'd be like elbowing each other. And I was like, now okay.
Yeah.
Heather Thomas. Oh, okay. He's going to make the button pop off with his mental powers.
Yeah.
All right. But let's finish with movie. We've been promising it. John Wick 4 is coming out. It is dropping technically late tomorrow, but Friday. This was another one of those franchises that I was kind of late to, in the sense that I didn't watch the first one in theaters. I don't like. It felt like this is kind of strange. Like Keanu Reeves is making just a random hitman movie. And then it's just like the buzz just built and built and built. And I was like, okay, I gotta rent it. And it wasn't streaming anywhere. I was like, I gotta buy it. I gotta see what this is all about. And it was great. Yeah. It was really good. The first one had a lot more emotion than even maybe you can say the later ones, because obviously it was about a man and his dog. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
But then they just upped the stakes each time. And 4 is already 94% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, but some people are saying the best action movie of all time.
I don't know. In a world with RRR,
That's a bold statement.
Here's the thing. It's entirely possible because I think the folks that are into the action, they know who's in this movie. But there's even other people, like we've got Donnie Yen, right?
Yeah.
Who's already, that's enough for any movie.
That's enough for me. Like you could have taken out Keanu Reeves and put Donnie Yen in, and I would have bought 2 tickets.
Well, just the addition of Donnie Yen to this movie is enough to put it over, I think.
Yeah.
Donnie Yen, like one of the greatest of all time. Now you've got, who else is in it? I forgot the guy, the samurai actor guy.
Skarsgård from It.
I know who you're talking about.
Was that who you're talking about?
No, the
I'm talking
guy
about the
from
martial artist.
Oh, the martial artist.
Yeah, the guy from Last Samurai.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's great.
And he was just in Bullet Train.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Yeah, he's great.
I forgot his name. I'm not doing anything.
Trying to pull it up now.
Yeah.
Lawrence Fishburne. Hiroki Sanada.
Hiroki Sanada.
Hiroki Sanada. Yep. The manager of the Osaka Continental Hotel.
Yeah, he was in Last Samurai, Rush Hour 3. Mm-hmm. He's been around, the Wolverine. He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
So you got him. And then you've got also Scott Adkins is in this.
Oh.
Are you guys...
I am all in on Scott Adkins.
Boyka.
Yep, I am all in on Scott Adkins.
Okay, Jeff, here's a movie you need to purchase on... It's probably $2 on some rental service, or you can get it free. Undisputed 3.
Oh, he's on Undisputed 3?
Yes. It was like the movie franchise. It started with Wesley Snipes, I think.
Yeah, it started with Wesley Snipes.
And then they spun it off of him.
It was Michael Jai White.
Then they spun it off of Michael Jai White to Scott Adkins. Part 3 is probably one of the best.
Yeah.
Well, it's got to be one of the best prison combat movies ever.
I would say he's like the new Jean-Claude Van Damme.
But legit.
Really?
Yeah, this guy
But it's a shoot, right? Yeah, he's a legit martial artist.
Yeah.
Watch Undisputed. I'll play a clip after the show because I don't want to get pinged. He's in this movie, and he's in like full fat bodysuit makeup. So that's so like he's going to be in it fighting. You've also got Marco Zaror. Do you know Marco Zaror? You guys know Marco Zaror?
No, I don't know who that is.
Marco Zaror he's been on the indie fringe scene for a while.
Mm-hmm.
See if I can pull him up.
Oh, I see him here. Yep.
He used to come to Fantastic Fest and bring his movies.
Oh, yes, I know who this is.
Okay, so he got over.
Wait, was he in Machete?
He was in Machete.
He was in Machete, yes.
And he's also in Undisputed 3 with Scott Adkins.
Oh God,
he plays the heel.
Oh yeah, this guy. Okay, yeah.
Dude, he has just been like around for a while. He's in this movie, and he's not like in any of the trailers, I don't think. But he's in it as a henchman. That's just another bonus. Yeah. And he is awesome. I'll show you some clips of him after. But he's got actually his early movies. He's got like a buddy director he's been doing movies with for like 10 years or 20 years. And he actually did an early superhero movie, like super low budget, just like shot on video. And it's a guy decides to become a superhero to impress, his nephew and stuff. It's really well done, and it's extremely low budget. They're just shooting it on the streets of Brazil or whatever, underground. But recommend it.
So it's like a legit. This reminds me of when the movies that Bruce Lee used to do, where he would book legitimate other athletes to give you these super fights. But on cinema super fights, right? We were talking about this earlier with Bruce Lee versus Chuck Norris, or when we saw wasn't there Steven Seagal versus Mike Tyson? Like all these weird super fights that we're talking about, and we're gonna get Donnie Yen versus Keanu Reeves, which I feel like that's what's gonna be considered a super fight. On top of having all these other basically famous martial artists, so by a stuntman director. And then acting pedigree, right, with Bill Skarsgård and Ian McShane, and now, unfortunately, the late Lance Reddick, who just recently passed away, who just missed the Wick, added all this, layers to it. And then Lawrence Fishburne, so you have the Matrix connection. Like, eventually, is John Wick going to become the Matrix? Is this this is another modal that he's training in?
Right, I think there's a lot. I'm not trying to spoil the movie. I know you're big on spoilers, but if you look at the cast list, you've also got this guy who I've never heard of, but I bet you he's well known in people in other circles that know more than me. Yoshinoro Tashiro is this guy. What do you think? How's it going to go down with John Wick and this guy?
Oh God! Oh, that's going to be great. Oh man, I can't wait to watch this.
So it's like 2 hours and 45 minutes. Longest John Wick yet.
There's going to be a lot of fighting.
So yeah, that's almost as long as Avatar.
Yeah. Oh, and you know Clancy Brown's in this too?
I see him looking at the cast that he's in it.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, this is great. I did not know it was going to be 2 hours and 45 minutes. I was going to ask you guys, where does this film series go? Like, I think this was an accidental film series.
It really was, and so I thought when they were like, okay, well, we're gonna make more, but we're only gonna make a trilogy, and I was like, okay, cool, they're only gonna make a trilogy. I'll take 3 movies, that's fine. And then they're like, all right, John Wick 4. Like, they ended on a cliffhanger, and I'm like, I mean, okay, thanks, but I mean, I want to see more John Wick, but at the same time, you told us like.
That was it.
but everybody's like, yeah, but we like money. Like,
can't believe you like money. I like money.
I like money too.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had like I think you said you came into it cold, which I think is great. It's always a nice surprise, you know.
It was a happy surprise.
I heard. Yeah. I think it must have premiered here at Fantastic Fest or something because the buzz on it in Austin was huge. So as soon as it hit theaters, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go see this.
And he was here last week. We should have booked him.
Yeah.
We should have booked him. He was here.
Yeah.
Should have. Yep.
So, but yeah, it just delivered. It was exactly what I wanted to see at the time, and yeah.
Oh, so you got to see it in theater during Fantastic Fest?
No, I didn't see it.
Oh, okay.
It's just like the movies. Sometimes they play at Fantastic Fest. They come out a few weeks later.
Yeah.
So it was one of those, but no, it was just awesome, and so the script is so efficient and well written. Like, yes. Nobody questions his justification for getting back into becoming a cold-blooded killer because they killed his dog.
Yeah.
No one second guessed it.
They didn't have to show you that he was the baddest man on the planet.
No.
They just had a couple guys say, "You messed up."
Oh
and
man,
you messed up bad.
That's what I think. That was the part of the first one when I first saw it that pulled me in was John Leguizamo, like trying to explain it, like you realize what you've just done. Like, man, the buildup was just so good, and he definitely has that vibe about him, right? The peaceful warrior that he has in there. So I just was curious if there's a way for them to end this.
I'm really like without him disappear, like faking his death or something. Like he wins. But then it's like, oh, well, there's no more John Wick. Like, he's dead. And it's like, no, I'm actually, deep in the jungle somewhere.
Right.
trying to get away from it.
And just
all.
hiding out or just working or just here in Austin, like working at the shelter with all these dogs. And you just hide them out.
Right. He could do it. He could hide out here.
Because they're, like, once you get past the 3 films, that's a certain threshold. Like, what are you committing now? 4 films, 5 films? Are you going to do... like Favreau's like, I don't see an end to The Mandalorian. And sometimes that's a good thing. Sometimes it's a bad thing because eventually everything, right? She said, Oracle said it. Everything has beginning, has an end. Would everybody be furious if somehow this merged with The Matrix? It's impossible, right? I don't even think they're the same studio.
Yeah, that's true. And I think people... I think that would piss off a lot of people.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, this has kind of surpassed The Matrix as far as pop culture goes,
Yeah.
I agree.
This is now what you think of Keanu Reeves as more so than The Matrix. And I think one of the reasons this movie just worked so well is because Keanu Reeves was in The Matrix and is experienced with he always says, I'm not a martial artist, I just do movie kung fu.
Yeah.
And he was so good at that when you had this production company, what do they call it? Like 25 North, the production company, who just specializes in stunts. He was the perfect person to use in that spot.
And he says he's not, but something tells me he is. Like, did you see his John Wick training at the gun range?
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm just an actor on TV. Pow, 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 pow. I was like, what? He's like, he didn't miss anything. And he did it so fast.
Yeah.
I was like, there's no way you cannot not learn that when you're in these types of films. But I think you're right. This has surpassed The Matrix because now looking back, everybody remembers the first Matrix fondly. And it just like how it changed films. But you don't have that with the entire series.
Right.
I think everybody even though I don't remember much about John Wick 2, I think everybody remembers the whole series fondly.
Right.
I think I remember 3 because he was riding a horse.
Right, yeah.
In the city.
Yeah.
So I mean that one really stuck out in my mind, but I'm just curious if they're like how this one's going to end. And I guess I'll find out in less than 24 hours.
I don't think it ends with anything other than him dead somehow, even if he's faked his death or whatever. Like, he has to be able to walk away. He has to be able to get a clean break from that life because he was done, and then
out.
he got brought back in.
Right, he was out. He was fully out.
Yep.
How did he get out that first time and with cleanly?
Oh, he did a job for.
That's right.
He did a job for the main heel in part 2, and that gave him a marker.
Oh, that gave him the marker that he was out?
Yeah, he did a job for him, which I can't recall what the job was, but...
Yeah.
Oh, man, I wish I would have rewatched them all now, but right before I'm going in fresh tomorrow.
I'll put them on right after the show. I have them all on my Amazon Prime. I mean, I think it ends... I think it's... I feel like after this one, they're going to have to take a break.
Yes.
And maybe that's the right idea because you don't want to have John Wick overload. But I think after this, there's got to be one more closer. You can't end on 4. It's got to be 5.
Yeah, the quadrilogy.
John Wick, 5 discs.
That's how you count them by disc.
I think you can end on 4 and then give somebody else the reins because there's a lot of depth to that world. There's a lot of characters.
I think they've got the shows coming out or something like that.
They were supposed to have a show about the hotel.
Yeah.
Oh, the Continental.
Yeah,
R.I.P. Lance Reddick. He's in that show too.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
So I mean, but I thought I heard something about they want to do like another character in that world and have a movie series based on them.
And pass like a
just a
spin-off or versus a pass the baton. Okay.
Yeah. And so I think you could do that and like every 3 or 4 movies, next one up.
So who is there a next in line that could do that? Like that they can pass the baton to, or would it have to be somebody that they introduce new that they mentor?
I don't know. How do you replace Keanu Reeves?
That's true.
I mean, we've got to be honest here. Is there another Keanu Reeves? I don't know who can do exactly what he does, because what he brought to this movie is just imagine someone else doing this role. It could have been so campy, just to be just this stoic, wordless killer. Like he doesn't say much at all in most of these movies.
Yeah.
I don't know that this is a pass the baton kind of thing. I think you're gonna have a hard time finding somebody.
Not Alex Winters.
Alex Winters? Who's that? Oh,
I can shoot a gun too, dude.
Give him a cameo. Why is he not made it yet?
Now I'm reading about it, so it's like Donnie Yen, and I just assumed that was going to be the main event, right? That's who he's got to battle to get out of this. But it says
I would hope so.
It's Kane, a blind high table assassin, and an old friend of John Wick. But I thought that was what we were setting up. That's going to be the super fight. You challenge him to that combat that Ian McShane was talking about in the preview, and if you win, you're out. Isn't that Donnie Yen?
If it's not, I'm going to be very disappointed.
Yeah, it has to be, right?
I don't know that. I don't know if it is, but I feel like Donnie Yen's going to turn babyface in this movie.
Yeah,
babyface Donnie Yen.
Oh man, you can. But because the issue is just like who's going to putting our wrestling hats on for a second. Who's going to do the job?
Well, you've got plenty of people doing the job here to do the job. You've got Scott Adkins. You've got
that's true.
You've got Marco Zaror.
You could have Scott.
You've got that sumo guy I was just showing.
Yeah, that's
so I think there's a lot in here. There's a lot of folks in here that are going to do the job.
I think and here's how I think this might go down is so it's Keanu Reeves, Donnie Yen. It's supposed to be the big one, and it's the big fight that everybody wants. And then, but at the end when things are going down, Scott Adkins, sticks his nose in it, and then Donnie Yen, turns face. And they team up together and they destroy the whole world.
Oh yeah,
and that's how they're gonna have to team up. and that's how it
They
works
have
out.
to have a team up. So maybe he is about to, John Wick is about to put him over.
Yeah.
And maybe someone tries to do a run in
Right,
and do it.
exactly.
And then he's like, no, we're doing this honorably. And then he did have the baby face turn right there.
And they team up.
Oh, yeah.
And you go John Wick 5, John Wicks.
That's Wicks. It's plural. You don't even need a number
The S
there.
is a dollar sign.
You got I got my tickets. Mario, JJ, you got your tickets. You seen it this weekend? You're gonna wait? I'm
gonna wait.
You're gonna wait?
Yeah, I always feel like I have to wait.
I'm going to see it as soon as I can, but I'm just going to have to acknowledge the fact that it's 2 hours and 45 minutes and pick an appropriate time.
Yeah, that's the way to do it.
The 10 o'clock show might not cut it, so.
How do I do this? Like, I feel like I need you guys to show me that superpower. How do I not go on opening night for these movies? Like, we remember a few weeks back on this show, Mario was talking about movies are back, and there's a new movie coming out every week for like the next. And then I was looking at my Alamo Draft House past purchases. I was like, shit, he was right. But I didn't count on how much it was going to cost, to the point where, shout out to Alamo Season Pass. I looked at the numbers. I'm like, I should have bought this last month. Damn it.
Yeah. Well, you'll start to see the savings immediately.
Yeah, it'll be really quick. I'm excited about it. It was just like, oh, now I have to go see all these movies immediately.
Well, the last what was it? John Wick 3, went to go see it in theaters, and I didn't go to an Alamo, went to my local Cinemark, whatever. And the people sitting next to us, like, they were talking. So it was, so they were talking, and every hit they were like, doing all the things, and then all of a sudden they had this duffel bag. Okay, so they had a dufful bag.
That's terrifying.
And in the duffel bag, they had all these this plastic stuff full of food. They brought their fried chicken from home, ready to watch some John Wick 3.
I got no heat with that whatsoever.
That's fine. But like, it was just like the icing on the. It's just like, oh, so you bring your own stuff. That's fine, because man, movies are expensive when you're trying to get some food and drinks. Bring your stuff in. That's great. But you need to shut up. Like, I get it's an exciting movie, but man, you need to shut up. And so, yeah.
It's funny when you said that, I was thinking in a Zucker Abrams movie, and you said, and that was the icing of the cake, and then you pan to them icing the cake.
Icing.
And Leslie Nielsen just no-sells it completely. The way I do it is one for me, one for them. It's just like, I'm going to probably buy Alamo. You're definitely going to buy food. But even if you go to Cinemark, it's like, fine, I'll buy the icy and I'm buy the popcorn, but I'm bringing my own Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah.
It's got to bring Smuggles something.
You gotta bring it, because you can go to the store and get those, movie-sized M&Ms or whatever for $1.
Yeah, they know you're smuggling it in. They don't care.
Yeah.
M&M Hard's like, fine, sneak it in the theater. Either way, we're getting the money.
Right. Like, and those people at the movie theaters don't get paid enough to really care.
Yeah. And I got to tell you, I mean, since you're a Cinemark guy, and I go to Cinemark Theater 1 for sure, so they have a generic version, and it just says Cinemark. It's just the red fish. It's Swedish fish. And they're actually better than the Swedish fish. To the point where every time I'll go and I'll buy two. It's just like one for me, one for my homie. He's like, what? It's like, all right, got to bring one home too. Yeah. So that's
I know
that's the
somebody
Cinemark.
Who might be into,
that's the Cinemark hack. Those are really good. So
okay.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I'll have to bring in my own cans of beer if I. You sneaking in the Swedish fish. I gotta bring. I mean, the beers are expensive at Cinemark, so
that's true.
They are. Yeah.
You just figure out which ones they serve. They bring one in your pocket.
I'm just surprised Cinemark. I know they committed to the brews, right? They had to, in town, especially in the town with Alamo. But they've committed to the fancy drinks with the big cups of margaritas with all the garnish falling out of it, forgetting Sarah Marshall. No, so pal. Why do you need all this?
Where are you supposed to put that drink?
Yeah, I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
That's just a little much.
That just when you're laying back in those nice comfortable chairs.
They do.
But yeah, I can't do Cinemark anymore, and and I live I'm real close to one.
Oh yeah.
And it's just unfortunate because
you got to pick your right times. You gotta go to lunch. That's about.
Jeff's
That's
the
all.
go to lunch guy.
Yeah, you gotta go to lunch. And if you're eating there, what do they care if you're at a restaurant or it's just like, this is my lunch. The tuna fish sandwich happens to be in my pocket while I'm watching a movie.
I paid for this.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, I think that's the show. I know we didn't talk about Shazam bombing, but we had so much Hollywood heat. I didn't want to dump any more heat on it, but R.I.P. to Zach Levy, I think, for Shazam. I think he's probably done.
He's done skis.
I know. And then he came right out and said, well, you know what? Rock said he didn't want to be in my movie. So, like, but Rock's already done with DC and for now anyway.
The Rock was the reason your movie
Some
sucks.
weird, messy stuff going on at DC.
They're really weird, messy stuff. But we have a short that's going to be dropping this Saturday. If you want to see some fantasy DC casting done by Mike B., the Museum of Now, and Mario, and who should be the next Wonder Woman and who should be the next Batman. So we might have to book, or are they just going to put Shazam on the shelf? Do you guys want a quick spoiler of that end credit scene?
Yeah, I'll take it.
All right, we'll give it to you.
Spoilers.
It's the middle end credit scene, not the end credit scene, which was just a gag from the first movie. The middle end credit scene had Harborough, James Gunn's wife in real life, and Diebeard from Peacemaker on HBO, not Max, HBO Max. He was on there, and then they went and they recruited Shazam, who was like shooting some bottles, and like, what's her name? Amanda Waller sent us, and we wanted to recruit you to the Justice. He's like, stop! I'm in. And he's like, oh, good, you're part of Justice Society. And like, oh, what? Was that different from Justice League? And just like, and they just did the Wonder Woman cameo that was just in there with Gal Gadot. So, but what was interesting to me is that was James Gunn approved. So that tells me that Peacemaker, that whole show and that whole universe is canon and staying intact.
Yeah.
So far we Henry Cavill we lost, Ben Affleck we lost, Aquaman might be changing characters. Gal Gadot was up in the air, but then she showed up here, so I felt like that's approved that she's probably still in it, and now it looks like Peacemaker's still in it. So he's definitely establishing who's in it and who's not in it. And I thought this was a way of establishing that Shazam was going to be in it, but then the poor reception, like this is lower than Morbius.
I mean, it's James Gunn. He might be able to turn that around. He might be able to turn Shazam around.
Or just like make him a character that he's just going to pop. Like maybe these characters can't be in standalone movies anymore. Like you were talking about with Hulk. Maybe Shazam would be okay in small doses.
Right.
Even though the little kid, you know, the Billy Barton.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
He's not a little
might
kid
have to,
anymore. He's big.
Just keep recasting little Billy there.
I mean, he's literally at the point now where he can just put on the Zach Levy muscle suit and just like, and forget it. I'll be Shazam.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that point.
Jeff,
but
is this the Shazam movie that you're talking about?
Oh, I got lightheaded on that one. That's got to be the Oh my god!
That's
I'll kick in the music on that one.
That's the Mandela effect one right there.
Oh my god! So wait, did we decide in this timeline that he was in a Shazam? Did we decide that Simbad was in it?
Yeah, our timeline has this Shazam.
He does have it, so it's not the Shazam.
No wonder The Rock didn't want to be in this one.
Working with Simbad? No, that's not for me. No.
I can't do it.
All right. This has been a successful podcast.
Good one, gentlemen.
JJ, thanks for coming out again.
Thanks for having me. Love to be here.
All right, John. See you next week.